Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Citizen Brewery in Tychy, Poland. My name is Mitch Uberlesi, and we are already in the thick of things here at the Wargaming.net EU Season 3 Finals. Already a massive game behind us between Evil Panda Squad and, of course, Lemming Train. It went fairly long, it's safe to say. A few draws in the mix, but we definitely came out with a winner in the end. And, of course, props to Lemming Train for taking that one out. Now, we're going to get into our next game very, very shortly, guys. Don't hesitate, and don't forget, of course, to get involved with the buzzings and all the goings on over on the social media as well. Hashtag WGLEU. Send me a message. Say something nice or not nice if that's the way you'd like to do it. Either way, get involved. Melly would love to read out your tweets for everyone else here. Okay, going to be meeting our third team in just a moment, guys. Let's have a look at what else Europe's finest has to offer.
We feel chilled, we're focused, but we're having fun.
We prepared very well. We trained tough, long weeks, and we trained with different teams. We improved individually. We tried to do our best.
I think every team knows each other really, really well. I don't think there will be big surprises in gameplay or strategies. I think only the better focused teams or better prepared, I guess, will come on top.
I think the chances are equal for all the teams because it's an offline event, and yes, everyone is nervous, everyone prepared well. The teams know each other very well, so it's going to be very close games which will rely on small things, small mistakes, small individual play. So yeah.
5 days out of a week, we trained every day for a couple of hours. Even if we don't have team trainings, you train for yourself, you focus on your solo gameplay and try to improve yourself every day.
Well, the feeling is great. You play a lot of months online from your home, so then when you finally go to offline event, you have the opportunity to be with your teammates live, also with your opponents with whom you create rivalries, so it's great feeling.
This is Kazna crew and Cobra is coming for you.
Yes, some great words from Hyber there as well, some cheekiness from Cobra. Well, guys, let's get them up here on the stage. Put your hands together for the Kazna crew. So I'm staring the stage here with Hyver. Obviously, you guys were in the Season 2 finals. You were president at Gamescom, and you definitely put up a great fight. The season for you, though, has been rough. You know, much the same as the Evil Panda Squad. You guys definitely had to fight to get into these finals. Tell me, you know, you guys generally in the past have been sort of pretty poor at online events until Season 2. What is the biggest difference between online and LAN? Let's be honest here, because there is. Like, you see some teams that just come out and just completely smash the opposition. What are you guys hoping to change between the season and here?
Well, first, the team from the end of second season is totally different than now because we lost 2 members in the mid-season. So we went into a rough period until we learned how to adapt and how to implement new players better in our tactics. So coming here now, we really don't know what to expect. We just hope to play our best game. And basically, the biggest difference is on online, everybody's playing from home. You cannot control the environment completely, but here, with team spirit, team passion, and spending time together, you can really play it fired up and motivated to the max.
So tell us a bit more about the changes you made to your roster, because it is a different Kazna crew, as we saw at Gamescom. Who are these people, and what do they bring into the team?
Well, first of all, our 2 members, Darkdon and Runze, that played in the second season, had to leave us because of personal life, because of obligations. So after that, Cobralione, who was our member, and also together with Aslan stepped in, and also we brought Crooks at the beginning of the third season from Team Ode Mortis, and they bring different play style, something new to the team. So, like I said, it took a little bit of time to implement all that together.
Well, thank you very much, Hyber. Get yourself seated and ready with the boys. Okay, so the fourth team to hit the stage today, of course, is none other than DeNova Gaming. Let's find out a little bit more about the boys.
We prepared some special things and some surprises for opponents. So yeah, we have some special things.
There is many good teams on this event, really strong teams, especially Dignitas and Virtus Pro, but they are all beatable, so I think we can do it, we can win this tournament.
Talking about the relations in team, I think we are indeed a team now. We are friendly to each other. We spend a lot of time just chatting and discussing some our interests, hobbies and other stuff.
I think we are prepared enough to beat any team on this offline event, and we will see who will win.
Of course, both leaders of current season, Virtus Pro and Dignitas, has proved that they are really strong and hard to beat. But everyone is beatable, and everything depends on how the team feels the very moment the game is in, when the game is in process.
If nothing else, it's safe to say that DeNova boys have a fair bit of swag in their arsenal. Let's see, though, if they've got some tank skills to back it up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Centre Stage, DeNova Gaming. Now, Ronnie, the last time we were up on stage together was Gamescom. It's been a little while since then, and you said in the interview video that you guys have really become a family, you know, especially over this time. Tell me, what does that mean for you guys? How have you changed between Gamescom and now?
We have several new players, and I feel we are as strong as we have never been before. So I really like the current lineup of our team. I believe we could be named as a really good team now, and before it was completely different DeNova.
And you guys said in the video, it was mentioned that in teams like Dignitas and Virtus Pro, who obviously have been dominating so far in this season, are beatable. You said that you guys can win this. What does it actually take, though, to topple these giants?
I think everyone is beatable, even the best teams in World of Tanks. Sometimes when we meet Navi, sometimes we can win even versus Navi. And I believe that Navi is the strongest team in the world now. So everything depends, as I said in the interview, of how good you're in the exactly same moment when you're playing versus the team. How good are you prepared psychologically? How good are you prepared tactically? So we will see. We will do our best and see what comes out.
Fantastic, Ronnie. Thank you for joining me on stage. Get set with the boys to roll out. Okay, well, let's see if the atmosphere in here has warmed up the hearts of our cold British casters. Pansy and Laughter, the stage is yours.
I think he just insulted us again. This is a running trend because we don't really pass back to Mitch. So he's just being mean, and it's a one-way street. I'm not really appreciating it, Mitch. We're going to have a word after this one. But back to the game, we have two phenomenal teams. going head-to-head here. Literally, you're a big fan of DeNova. You have been for some time. I've always loved the style of Kazna crew. I think they're some of the most fun teams to watch in this game. Not only tactically, but just the personality really comes through in their game style. So to not keep you guys waiting too long, I want to start looking at those stats. Let's chuck up DeNova's if possible to have a little look exactly what we thought towards these guys, because they are one of the most up-and-coming teams, finishing 4th in the season overall. And DeNova, you can't deny them. Their aggressiveness, creativity, accuracy, everything is very strong, but it's not quite as strong as your Diggs and Uber's pros yet.
They're a pretty complete team, though. I mean, look at that. Everything's not too bad. It's over the 50% mark. I reckon the strongest is the accuracy. Every single guy seems to have over 65%. So just a really strong team. They have that skill, and if there's any indicator of skill, it's accuracy. It's just, with all that different things about World of Tanks that makes it quite hard to hit your shots. Having a high accuracy level means absolutely everything. So yeah, I think generally very skilled team. Decision making still struggling because, as Ronnie just said, they are pretty new when it comes to the roster.
Yeah, but going back to the point of accuracy, let's give some clarification how good these guys are. Most teams have maybe 2 outstanding players who may not be the most big damaging players hitting great accuracy, whereas it's opposite almost for DeNova. They're 2 players who are one of the strongest parts within their side, hit obscenely good accuracy. So rest in peace, up at 82%. That is absolutely ridiculously good. These guys, they don't miss a shot. But now let's go on to Kazna crew, a very different side, very unique within their own right, and their passion, their ability to play, I always feel comes through very strong. Their aggressive nature, the way they're not afraid to get into the battle and sometimes really shake things up, and challenging some of the best teams because of that.
Yeah, they are such a great team, and they do, as you said, to innovate. They shake things up, and you can see that aggressiveness all the way up to the top. So they are such a strong team going forwards. Decision making perhaps a little lacking, but being aggressive. Is it a good decision to be aggressive or not? That is the question. I think 11 Train just proved that once again that it is a good decision. So, accuracy lacking a little bit, but it doesn't affect them quite so much as you would expect. They are such a strong team, and they are such a tight-knit group of players. These guys not only live close to each other, they don't play for a very long time. Obviously, the Kazna clan is very well known for that. Yep. But it just all comes together into such a tight-knit group of players that they're all so friendly, and it just translates onto the battlefield. Obviously, the best result so far was at Gamescom, where they did take that 3rd place. So a massive gain coming up for them. At least they have to beat DeNova. This is such a hard game. Carmen was mentioning that the first game is always the harder, and it's especially so for Lemon Tree for their unique reasons. But for every team here, that first game is so crucial. It just gets the ball rolling.
Oh, most definitely. And you get that little bit of confidence building. You start thinking, okay, we've taken someone down who deserved their spot here and are really starting to do well. That's when you start getting dangerous. When a team who may not be, let's say, predicted to be that strong can get that confidence beside them, they can cause upsets. And both of these teams can do this. DeNova, there's nothing stopping them beating the big guys. These guys can compete at a very top tier level, as we've seen. Kazna crew, just as dangerous. The end of Kazna crew's season was absolutely incredible. Okay, Team WD, not such a great victory, but prior to that basically got them into this in 5th position. They took down Virtus Pro. Now, that is not an easy feat by any means. That is astoundingly hard. Virtus Pro throughout the whole season were almost untouchable. Very few people were able to kind of chip away at the absolute giants. Kazna crew managed it, and that was something that I think everyone's going to remember here, is the fact that you cannot underestimate these guys. When they come out to play, they can really step up. Now, I kind of want to get your opinion on this, because on paper, this looks like DeNova's game. They out of the 4 times they've been up in the last 2 seasons, 3 of the 4 times, it's gone DeNova's way. But Kazna crew, they're dangerous. Do you think this could be one of the times we see that happening?
It certainly could be. I think this is where it has to happen. That's the difference. They have to do it here. As you said, they've only beaten them once in season 3, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. This is offline. This is where everything changes. And Kazna crew, they are a well-known team, and they know each other very well. Well, whilst DeNova, Ronnie was talking about the roster changes, we can just run through them quickly. Nick Lemos joined. He was in season 1. Obviously, they got MSDNT. They got Rest in Peace from Virtus Pro. FC Dynamo, an old Red Rush Team 3 player, international, took 2nd in the Eurosteel finals in 2012 in the team of Red Gra. So just loads of roster changes. So many old players leaving, so many new players joining. It doesn't make so much of a difference online. Obviously, it does a little bit. Ronnie was mentioning that, but it makes a whole load of difference offline. A load more, 10 times more, because that communication, that just ability to settle in with your teammates and just relax and play the games is negated a huge amount.
Almost certainly, and to give you an idea of the stats of the guys you were just looking at on your screen, DeNova then. So Phoenix, for example, the top damaging player for their side. He's the biggest threat in my eyes if he's on point. Out of the 85 battles they played, he got 85 kills. So he's a sure shot to get at least one in the bag. Whether it be a tier 1 or that bigger tier, he's going to get it anyway. That's the danger of them. He's so consistent at it. And even just below that, you look at Rest in Peace, maybe not up there, as much as some of the others in damage, but only by a small margin. He's a man who's going to hit 82% accuracy. So out of the 570 shots he took, he nailed 470 of them. That in a game like World of Tanks is something you cannot deny. That sort of talent is phenomenal. If that man is on point today, the opposition are in trouble no matter who it is. That's the difference here. And in these offline events, it takes so few things for these people to be in the right set of mind. It can be very small things as well to knock them off of it. If your mouse doesn't feel the same as at home, the desk height could be off. Something as basic as that can really cause trouble for these guys. But I assume they're all set up now. They look fairly comfortable. They're just getting every setting right. You can see it on the screens right there, just making sure everything is perfect. And Kazna crew, they're a team that, as you mentioned, they might not be the best accuracy players. They're not, the big kind of flashy players we see, but they're all around that good to above good marker. You know what I mean? They all sit from that 50 to 60% accuracy. They get a ridiculous amount of kills as well. So these guys may not get the first shot off and they might not hit the next 5 in a row, but they'll certainly eventually get it and they'll work around it. Their creative plays, their aggressiveness is unbelievable. It's, in my eyes, they're a team that you can't, underestimate. The likes of Hyber, what a fantastic player. If they pick Abby into this, I will be, I'd love to watch it. That's my favorite map for watching these guys on there. One of the first ones that I really love seeing that T69 play in that central Abbey area. Switching up to a 1390 a little bit later on, he preferred that one running round in. But the way he plays it is just fantastic. And the map picks, which will be coming up, are going to be so vital for these guys. I think that's what we need to put our attention towards is what sort of map choices are really going to suit which side. Because they're two very different teams, as we've mentioned. What sort of bonus would DeNova, for example, be looking for?
See, DeNova always had a good grounding in your city maps, in Himmelsdorf especially. I always thought they were a top 3 team there, so brilliant. But they've also, with the roster changes, incorporated maps like Prokhorovka and Steps, which we haven't seen so far. So I think that ability, especially with Phoenix, as you can see on the screen, that's Phoenix, he calls shots so well. He's the guy in the MX 3090 who's saying, okay, go for that guy, go for that guy. Him in the team has just increased their map awareness 1,000 times over. And obviously the cool, calm, collected voice of Ronnie in the background helping with that as well. But last time these guys fought was at Gamescom, where actually Kazna beat them, so it's looking awfully good for them.
Yeah, indeed. So let's make sure we take note of these maps here because they are making them being picked right now. And as you said, certain choices favor certain teams, and I think it'll be the eliminations first. So let's see what they get rid of here because Ronnie just staring it down, making sure he makes the right choice there. Gonna get rid of Abby. I think they're kind of reflecting our opinion of Kazna crew on that one. Very strong map for them. Certainly something I would not want to face against off of them. Steps being taken out. As you said, big improvement from DeNova in these open set maps. Not just a city team anymore. So what do you think the decider map, if we would need it, will be from these guys?
I think Mines. Abbey is our second least played map. So I think if there's anyone here, the most likely is to be Mines as the 5th map. And then maybe your Ruhenberg, Ensk, Prokhorovka. I think DeNova like quite a lot. They like that open map, so I think that's going to be quite far up. But it's indeed Himmelsdorf, interestingly enough, as the 5th map.
That's interesting.
That's
as you said, though, maybe,
yeah,
exactly. Trying to get rid of that from DeNova to deny them that early advantage that we said can be so vital for these guys. And Mines, I think that's his general kind of position right now. I think maybe the deciding map is more tailored towards the opposition a little bit. In this one, but let's see what they're going for in map 3. A couple of choices left. Still got Ensk in the mix, Prokhorovka, Ruhenberg. All very good choices, all fantastic maps. I'd love to see Ruhenberg as well. That's one of my favorites. I've seen that head-on collision if they go for it. If not, they go for that little adaptation through the city or to the village. Certainly a choice to be made. Ensk being the 3rd map, so we'll have to see how that one goes through. But what do you think the next 2 choices are going to be?
So we've got Ruhenberg and Himmelsdorf, well, not Ruhenberg, Himmelsdorf, Ruhenberg and Prokhorovka even. I think I quite like Ruhenberg as a first map. It's unpredictable. But that's maybe a good thing for Kazna crew. They like that unpredictability, and obviously they've been the team to innovate on Ruhenberg, putting that AMX 5100 up into the city to get the crossfire on. Yeah. That will be interesting to see if they've even innovated further. So Prokhorovka is going to be map 2. Map 1 is going to be obviously Ruhenberg, leaving us with our 5 maps for this matchup. Ruhenberg, Prokhorovka, Ents, Mainz, and finally Himmelsdorf as potentially the decider. Interesting set of map, to say the least.
Very curious choices there. No initial big city maps being played until the 3rd, so maybe trying to deny DeNova that early chance of getting the advantage, really. I think it's a very tactical choice, that one. Obviously, taking out Abby was so focused towards Kazna crew. It's not even funny. Those guys are so strong on that map, so innovative, as we mentioned before. One of their biggest strengths in my eyes. They certainly can really shake things up on that. So you've got to kind of take us through the first 3 maps, because they're going to be the really important ones that we could see a victory through if it happens that way. Ruhenberg, Prokhorovka, and Ensk. Now, Ruhenberg being the first. Unpredictability. You're not going to be showing your hand in that one. So let's say, one of their players is really strong now in a certain specific way. They've been training a lot. Both sides can now kind of keep that back almost, because everyone goes head-to-head these days to an extent on Ruhenberg. But then you go into Prokhorovka. There's no way you can hide your hand in that map. You've got to play it out how you guys know. So what do you think? Let's ignore Ruhenberg for now, because I feel as though that's going to be one that we'll see kind of coming into its own in the game. But Prokhorovka, we can kind of dissect a little bit here. What do you think is going to be kind of happening through that one?
So in terms of history, Kazna crew have actually been pretty passive on Prokhorovka, especially when the pressure's on. They've set up that the railroad that intersects the right third of the map. They just start up in those bushes. They haven't won a single game with that tactic, so I think they won't be doing that.
Hopefully.
But generally, it is about, exactly, hopefully. But generally, it is about that middle gameplay. Do they get who gets the better positions there? Who stays behind the rock? Obviously, Prokhorov has changed a lot. We quite often see that first T69 who gets behind either left or the right rock can get the perfect position, get the side shots on. But also, we've got to think about that village, because the village is very hard to play from the north, because you get the lower ground. It's slightly longer to get there. You can also get spotted out really early on. But from the south, it's definitely more advantageous, because you can also get that hill. The hill is so important, especially towards the later stage of the game, where you obviously need the higher ground advantage. And it's so hard from the south to go towards the left, unless you're Oda Mortis. But, Oda Mortis have really struggled on Prokhorov from the south. They've gone over towards the left. It seems to be their tactic, but it's about 40% win ratio there. So I think it's all about those kind of positioning. The early game on Prokhorov is so important. And then just execution, just to tie it all together.
Certainly. So let's go back and kind of consider Ruhenberg, but not in the strategy way, because I feel as though that's going to be down to what they call in that moment. I don't think you can pre-plan a map like Ruhenberg to a massive extent. You can innovate, don't get me wrong, but it's still very dependent on understanding your opponent to such an extent. But what sort of tank picks do you think we'll see coming out of this one? Because the teams are just discussing the last couple of things, making sure that everything's kind of set to the right kind of ideas. But obviously the idea of what tanks we're using will start coming into fruition. So we know Hyber's very strong on the T69, for example, and the 1390. These are kind of your bread and butters almost. But is there going to be any kind of quirky picks, do you think?
Well, Lemming Train like to pick the IS3s.
Curious choice as well.
Yeah, very curious choices. I'm not a massive fan. It hasn't worked in the past. It has a lot of armor and firepower, but you just can't. It's not versatile enough. Considering Prokhorovka used to be played with artillery and scouts, it kind of shows that you need a versatile lineup. So I think T69s, 100% sure, 2 or 3 of them. MX 1390. Usually 1 to get the middle spot, and then an AMX 5100 and a couple of T1s to finish it off with firepower and scouts. We've seen a little bit of innovation from your Virtus Pros and stuff. They've been picking 2 or 3 AMX 1390s, working their way into the village where you can get the higher ground, shoot the tanks that are engaging in the middle, and getting the 5100 up there as well. So AMX 1390, you can run around the map a lot, and you can get yourself into a nice position. And you can see Phoenix playing the Pershing. That's the other tank I wanted to mention. It's such a nice little tank, so versatile. It has everything just perfect. It's like the king of all tanks at multitasking. Good gun, the T15E2M2. Good accuracy. Good turret armor on the mantlet. HP's better than the AMX 1390. Everything's just got every box is ticked right on the Pershing. So if you want just that consistency, pick that tank. So all these things are going through these two teams' minds, but I still think Ruhenberg is more about the engagement than the tank lineups.
Okay, with that in mind then, and it comes down to the kind of decision-making in the moments, the kind of fight coordination, Who do you feel has maybe the better strength in that? Because I still feel this is a very dangerous map for Kazna Crew if they play it correctly. Like, they can do this one very well, and DeNova might feel the pain of it, but DeNova have been very good here as well. It's hard to deny them. So who do you think might have the strength here with all the facts in mind?
I think Kazna Crew.
I tend to agree with you on this one.
In terms of track record, I think Kazna Crew will take it. I just think Rurenberg isn't DeNova's map today. I just have that feeling. I think
the next couple could certainly be DeNova's,
I think certainly, you know, Prokhorovka and Ensk. We've seen DeNova, especially Ensk. DeNova just plays so well on that map. It's literally their map. Because you have that combination of the green zone and the city side. You have your Prokhorovka and you have your Rurenberg, and it suits them. But on Rurenberg, Kazna Crew have innovated, Kazna Crew have won, and I think they are just the more competent team on that map. But DeNova, that they are so strong. These guys are the real deal. That they might just simply outskill Kazna Crew.
Yeah, and as you said, it can come down to just that exchange and those small choices that you make. And the one thing I really want to see, as you mentioned, Virtus.pro fancying, you know, the 1390 split towards maybe the kind of village area that's towards the right side of the map. But you know, a lot of teams favouring the one city split. 1390 goes down and gets the cross shot. It's almost... There's so many different things that I can't wait to see really coming through on this. And guys at home, once again, I do want you to get your predictions through to me. Some of your comments before were absolutely phenomenal, and you guessed it right if you did back the Lemming train, guys. There was only a couple of, you know, opposition supporters, let's say. There weren't that many. You guys didn't have faith in the Pandas, but this time around, I want you guys to predict the 3-map result. Let's say it ends in 3. If it goes more than that, you can ignore the tweets and we'll do it all again. But it's going to be Rurenberg, Prokhorovka, and Ensk. All you have to do is write down the first letter of the team's name next to that map name and tweet at TheyCallMePansy for myself and at Laughter. I want to know exactly what you think is going to go down. Do you share our thoughts in this? Because, you know, Rurenberg, we think probably going to be Kazna's. Prokhorovka, where do you think that's going to go, Ollie?
I think DeNova.
I tend to agree with you on that one. But I feel as though maybe Ensk is a hard one to call. Maybe a city map does favour, you know, your DeNovas who you're seeing on your screen right now. So in my eyes, it'd be, you know, Kazna, Rurenberg, Prokhorovka, DeNova, Ensk, DeNova. And then obviously we'll see if it goes further than that. If we do, then I'll make sure you have to call it on the deciding map, whether it goes all the way through or if it's over in the 3 or 4. But make sure you tweet to us because it's great hearing from you. Make sure you do the hashtag WGLEU. Very simple. Whack that on the end. Melly will be able to see it, and we love to hear from you. But we do want to know, obviously, and if you get it right, I don't know, maybe we can sort some prizes out for you guys. But you know, opinions would be great as well because these two teams are very community-based. You know, especially Kazna Crew. You know, Spale were one of the teams I always used to love watching who didn't quite make it to these offline finals, sadly, and disbanded as a team, even sadder than that. But, you know, Kazna Crew being here, you at least get one of the kind of real community favourites. They're a pillar within the scene. They're such a well-known factor here. I do want to see what your thoughts are towards these guys. And as you can see on the screen there, Phoenix, one of the main players, one of the highest damaging players for DeNova, just taking things into consideration, being very calm, actually. He doesn't look nervous at all. He's just chilling out, checking out the tank, and, you know, just...
Got a great poker face.
He does have a very good poker face. I wouldn't want to challenge him with that. I'm awful at poker anyway, so it'd be a very easy game.
You're awful at a game of luck.
No, I just don't know how to play it. So, you know, I'm already kind of negating the luck element there.
Fair enough.
All I can do is play video games, which is quite sad, really, isn't it? I'm very limited to my skill set. I can talk about video games. Not sure if that's a skill or not, but, you know, I'll roll with it for now. But,
Good pun there with the
yeah,
text.
it was almost as good as your Abby puns.
Thank you.
To be fair, someone actually did call you out on Twitter about your Abby puns. They're like,
yeah,
this is too early. I haven't even had my coffee yet. This is painful. You know, this isn't good. It's not good. You know, we'll calm down on the puns. They'll keep on coming. All right. I think the technical fairies are kind of already chewing away at some wires because of the atrocious puns Oliver's already been doing. I was holding back at least to the later stages, but you know, as it is, that's how it goes. But anyway, with that kind of a little bit of a trend, we started off there talking about the results and, you know, how people can tweet to us and get involved. I think we should probably head back over to Melly to go. Gives you guys a proper idea because I can kind of waffle about Twitter and that's literally all I can do. Melly, on the other hand, can sell you it pretty damn well. So guys, let's head over to Melly, who's waiting in the social media corner.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, yes, We want you guys to get involved. Just as Lauren said, you can tweet us, you can go on Facebook and vote for your favorite team. I already set up a vote for this matchup, which will be Kazna Crew versus DeNova, of course. And we already have kind of a pre-result because the vote is running throughout the whole match. So we can see a kind of development throughout the whole encounter. So right now we have 72% for Kazna Crew. So Kazna smash, I would say. And we have a lot of tweets regarding that as well. And yeah, let's give you guys an idea of one of our challenges we have currently running on our Twitter account. And if you head over to twitter.com/WGLEU, you will see that I tweeted that I want you to send me pictures of how you are enjoying our show. And I already got some submissions regarding that. So if we have a quick look on my screen, I could show you some pictures. And there's someone, Adam has obviously birthday, and it's probably his son. So happy birthday from my side, buddy. And nice. It's really nice of you that you're sharing your special day, your cake day with us. And the next one is so many kids. And yeah, little girl supporting his daddy on the battlegrounds. That's how we like it. And this looks pretty comfy, like a big fluffy elephant. And yeah, I think that's probably going to the first match we had. Alex says, I'm watching with the finals on my couch with my dog, but my dog is pretty bored from all the draws. So maybe maybe Kazna Crew and DeNova will spare us from draws this time. But you never know, right? You never know. So I'm waiting for your submissions, people. Head over to Twitter. Just take a picture with your mobile. It doesn't have to be something great. Just show me how you enjoy our show. And yes, that's pretty much all from my side. And of course, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU. The vote is still running. So not that I said the results, it's not finished yet. So you still have the possibility to vote for your favorite team. Too many words, too fast speaking. So thank you very much, and I think it's going back to the casters.
Well, thank you so much for that. And how cute were those kids? Oh my God, they looked so adorable. That little banana cake as well, it looked pretty good.
I like banana cake. I prefer Black Forest Gatto, to be honest.
Do you remember what your favorite fruit was?
What was that?
Bananas.
It was bananas, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring that. Was yours kiwi?
Yeah.
Okay, fair
Big
enough.
fan of kiwis. There was some in the hotel this morning.
Was there? Did you get one?
No.
No fruit for you today?
No fruit, no healthiness. Don't be silly. I talk about games. We don't do health stuff. No. Apart from Apollo, obviously, he just he's pretty ripped. Yeah. But aside from that, and adorably cute children watching one of the tanks, which is just incredible. There is a couple of young people running around here as well. It's a pretty cool audience here so far. We are just waiting for the teams to be ready, and once they are, and once we're in the lobby, we will actually get underway. But we can kind of get back to a little bit of chat about the social media stuff. We've already had a couple of the predictions through, mostly from I believe it's Kalovich there, just kind of. I'm pretty sure he was in Kazna Crew at some point, or he's part of that kind of community, because he's already tweeted a picture of their TeamSpeak just filled with people watching the game. So certainly enjoying this one. There's a lot of support for Kazna Crew out there. Keep your tweets coming with the predictions to myself, and obviously via the routes Melly told you. And we'd love to hear from you here, because it's what it's all about. And you can see, you can see the young one there. He just waved to the camera. This is I'm getting broody. This is terrible. I didn't expect this. Like. Horribly.
Lee.
Sudden, cold sweat just dripping down his forehead, what's going on? But I do believe they are almost ready to get underway into this one. So do not fear, the waffling will stop soon enough, and we'll be able to actually watch some Water Tanks. But we can kind of go back to Rurenberg a little bit here, and kind of discuss who's going to be the key players from these two teams, because, Kazna Crew, for me, I don't know, it's probably your Hybers involved in this one and people like that, because I always feel Hybers so important on occasion. He can really be such a playmaker, but I'm not sure if he can be on Rurenberg. It's a hard one to call. But who do you think is going to be the standouts here?
Well, I think Hyber. He's a superstar player, right? And on Rurenberg, which is a map about T69s, he plays a T69, or he used to at least. I think he's going to be really important. For DeNova, I think obviously Phoenix is always important. Ronnie's You know, he's the team captain, so of course he's important.
Yeah.
But you
It
know,
helps.
it does help a little bit when you're team captain. He's going to be playing the tier 1, so he's not going to be important in terms of the damage dealt and the damage taken. But he's going to be important just directing his team and giving them the real clairvoyance to take the win. But for DeNova star players, Phoenix. SD Dynamo, rest in peace. You know, rest in peace is gone through such a long history. He was in New Star, which took second at the first season of the Wargaming.net League in Russia. Such a spectacular player. Went over to Virtus Pro, now joining DeNova in season 3. So he's going to be incredible, and you can see by the kind of accuracy he's hitting, the damage he's hitting. He's just one hell of a brilliant MX5100 player, and I think he's a real key and pivotal guy in this first map and the rest of them as well.
Yeah, it's for me, it's all eyes towards Phoenix and rest in peace here. Don't get me wrong, the tier 1 players can be so important on this. We've seen so many caps being made by tier 1s. You know, I was watching the NA side of things not too long ago, and it even happens over there, and some of our defining matches were really created from those tier 1s being used to counter cap, being used to apply pressure, getting those early kind of scouting little bits of work out. And I'm just kind of curious as to how this is going to plan out, because we're kind of staring at these teams, like looking at them kind of getting ready, and Kazna crew looking very serious, normally quite a relaxed, you know, quite jokey team. You know, they're always kind of
there'll be a bottle of something somewhere down there.
Yeah, I reckon.
Sure.
Just hidden under the hood. So that's what they're doing when they pulled it up, right? I thought so. But no, they're normally very relaxed, but they look very focused here. They were saying that they have been training quite hard. They did have some travel issues, to say the least. That man on the screen right there had a couple of, a few problems.
He had bad
mojo. A long train ride. Eventually did get enough rest. Thank God he wasn't here, a day later. Otherwise, they may have been in trouble. But they all seem to be kind of settled in now. They're all kind of in this right mind frame. So hopefully that doesn't affect them too much, and they aren't too, travel tired. Because DeNova certainly won't turn up to these events and be tired. They're always quite on point.
To be fair, Mitch, our host, he comes from Australia, so he not only does he have to travel around the world, but he also has to reverse his body, so he's actually walking the correct way up, which adds a whole new extra dimension of travel. And he's also got jet lag to think about. Loads of things. He's gone from plus 40 to minus 10 as well.
You being nice to the guy who mocks us for cricket.
I'm not being nice to him.
You were being fairly nice to our host. I feel abusing our
I'm saying
staff.
Australia's the wrong way around.
Yeah, the toilets go the other way around.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That just blows my mind. This is where my mind goes these days, folks, while we're waiting for these guys to get ready. Hopefully there can be a nudge from the admins to find out what's taking them so long. I do believe they are almost there. But the final discussions will be happening, and hopefully our voices will be saved for another moment where we're not just talking about how delightful their faces look. Something clearly perplexing Ronnie, and these guys just staring down the screen. Very serious times. And I always do want to kind of clarify something as well, and we do get the double headset question a lot. Why are these guys wearing 4 headsets? Well, 4's a bit extreme, but there can be 3. Generally, the one around the neck, as you can see, he's got a bit of a Steel Series choice there. Very nice, lovely little blue glow to it. During for the microphone, you generally have in-ears under that, and then you have the sound-cancelling headsets on top. So just to kind of clarify before everyone starts asking questions, that is exactly why it happened. So
these are proper helicopter sound cancelling as well, so they just can't hear anything.
Yeah.
It's just to stop cheating. We're trying to keep everything as fair as possible. They can't watch the streams. They can't do anything like that. So it's just 100% down to those teams, those individual players within the teams, and just the brilliance they can come up with to take the win. Nothing else.
Yeah, indeed. So hopefully nothing's standing in their way between them picking up the game. And you can see a couple of people enjoying being on the screen, apparently. I almost saw someone cracking a smile. Oh, he's almost doing it again. No more smiles. He was very serious again. There we go. Someone's smiling. It's like you just put a camera on someone instantly grinning. This is great. It's absolutely great. So you can't tell that we're trying to fill here. It's atrocious, though, really. I think we are almost ready to get those tank peaks underway. And talk me through what you think these lineups are going to be, where they're going to be played, and kind of the vital factors of Ruinberg.
Sure. So I think triple T69, I think it's quite likely. 5100 AMX 3090, that's the standard one. Variations, get rid of one T69, put a Pershing in there. AMX 5100 instead of one of those T69s as well. Double T69, AMX 3090, Pershing, AMX 5100, also another strong lineup. IS3 if you're crazy like Lemming Train. I don't know, you can have artillery in there if you really want.
We did see a couple of teams teasing with the idea of artillery.
I've seen the North American teams use the M40, M43. Didn't work.
Yeah, and also speaking of the North American scene, big shout out to Rukil, who's sitting here. He ruined his sleeping schedule to check this out. So congratulations on your poor life choices, but you've made the correct one by staying up here and watching this. As well, I think some of the Fulcrum guys, Nagatron earlier tweeting, Soviet, a couple of the guys will be checking this out. So certainly trying to pick up some tips and tricks if these guys actually get underway here. We've seen some choices of Tier 1. So Hyber is leading the way so far. I'm going to start commentating on the tank picks, but I'm going to leave you to that front. So why don't you take us through what they're choosing so far?
So as you said, double T1 from Hyber, T1 AMX 1390 from DeNova. So I guess the normal picks, the ones we would expect coming out first. If any team wants to innovate or try something new, which does obviously happen at the finals, you know, teams just try and win in the online stage, try and get that top 6 spot, and then they really start showing us their true steel at these finals. AMX 1390, AMX 5100. Coming out from Kazna crew, that's their second pick. Second pick for DeNova is the AMX 5100, the T1. So both teams are going for that Tier 8 French heavy tank, the AMX 5100. I guess that's a given these days. Still fast enough and does enough damage with enough HP to be viable on this map. Obviously not great in terms of gun depression, pretty horrific in terms of gun depression. I'm sure every AMX 5100 player out there can agree with me on that one, but still so pivotal, especially up in towards that small village towards the eastern side of the map. Next pick is going to come out from Kazna crew, IS-3 AMX 1390, Carter's Curse coming out. Indeed picking that Tier 8 Russian heavy tank, the IS-3. Interesting choice, probably going to sit it up. Well, I've seen it being put in towards the middle. You know, that crescent moon that splits the map in half. But it doesn't quite have the gun depression, but it can ward off a lot of damage. But it's also very, very good in that city.
See, now I think you just hit the key point I was about to make to you. Do you think we're going to see a possible city play from Kazna crew with this lineup? You know, you've got the 5100 in there, fairly heavy tank. We've got an IS-3 now, and we've got 1390. So it's not completely, or 23090s, excuse me, it's not indicative of the usual exchange.
Yeah, I think it's certainly a choice, but you know, in my opinion, if I was going to put my 2 cents on it, they're going to send it up into the middle and just literally use it as a battering ram. So all the damage just directed onto it, and it can honestly respond with a lot of damage of its own. MX 1390 T69 for DeNova is their next pick. So now we're heading into the last picks for both these two teams. This is where the interesting stuff comes out. And indeed,
wow.
Kazna crew picking that 110, the Chinese Tier 8 heavy tank. Very interesting choice for them.
See, that just makes me think back to one of the players I previously mentioned, Nagatron. You know, I asked him why they run with those 110s in the NA scene, and they like it on Ruinberg, and it seems as though Kazna might be kind of picking up a couple of tips from them rather than the other way around. And why do you think they're running with that on this?
So it's got a lot of armor from the front, not as good from the side as the IS-3, not as good as doing the mouse trip, now known as side scraping. But also its gun, extremely, it's not extremely accurate and good aim down time, but it's significantly better than the IS-3, so you can do those snapshots, you can get the damage down a lot easier, and obviously your reload's better as well. So it's just a more child-friendly tank, basically. It's a lot easier to play. But also,
calling Megatron out right now.
Well, he's in the North American scene, so
he's not going to get you anytime soon.
They need to start somewhere. MX5100 last pick from DeNova. That last pick being the French Tier 8 heavy tank, making the final lineup for Kazna crew. Double AMX 1390, AMX5100, IS3 110, double T1, and those guys just checking out their ammo. And from the side of DeNova, we've got the AMX 1390 ×2, T69, AMX 5100, and we've got two AMX 5100 and another T69 there, as well as those two T1s. So I think DeNova's gone for the much more classical setup with the T69s, the AMX 1390s, and the AMX 5100s, which could work out for them. But also Kazna crew have changed something, they've innovated, which obviously they have a plan for, which could completely throw DeNova off hill here. Well,
I'm very curious. We're going to see what DeNova's like when their backs are kind of put to the wall almost. They're going to have to kind of show their strength in this sort of situation here. Very, very interesting stuff. You can see Kazna crew, they're just talking things through, making sure they're all prepared. These teams, you know, it does really come down to these moments. And Kazna crew, they are more like a family than just, you know, a couple of friends who play together. These guys know each other so well. And, you know, if they can pull this off, if they can get this one going, they have a good chance of going through here. If they can keep building that confidence, that's what they're talking about, getting that final detail down, making sure every single thing of the final plan they're getting ready is going to be correct. You can't make mistakes on this stage because DeNova, a team who can certainly fight with the big dogs, will punish anyone for a simple mistake. Kazna crew know that. They've faced them before. They've faced many times before, not only just the offline finals throughout the seasons, and they felt the pain of what DeNova can do. So they don't want to be reliving that anytime soon. So still Mojo and the boys just having a chat, making sure everything is prepared on every single level. And hopefully it will be.
Yeah, they are a family, as you mentioned. They are a community. And it's just coming through there. They don't have their main man, their previous main man, God Runes, now known as Runes, in their midst, who really did rally them around at Gamescom and was one of the real reasons why they did so well. They're taking 3rd place. So it's all about Steel Mojo and Hyber to really get the troops going. And obviously, it's very likely that they're going to lose a couple of maps. You can hear the excitement coming out of Kazna crew. A really vocal bunch of guys, a really great bunch of guys as well. They're pumped now. They're really ready to go. And I think we're in for a pretty hectic and fast set of games here. DeNova, though, the real collection of steel faces, not so animated, but I'm sure they're going to get going once the first map is underway.
See, now, the thing that I like about Kazna crew, yes, they are passionate, but the other factor of being passionate means you get very frustrated very quickly if it goes wrong. Now, Ruinberg, in my eyes, should be their map. Let's assume they make a mistake. You start getting angry, you start getting wound up, you start getting frustrated, you may blame other teammates, and that's when being passionate sometimes can really be the downfall. Hopefully, they can keep it in check, stay focused, and do exactly what they're meant to. They look ready for this. They look absolutely to a T here. Whether or not they can pull it off, very different, complete question together, but we are just waiting on the final yes to be ready. And obviously, the importance of these games, you have to be certain. Lemming Train waiting in the next round, being the team who went through. You don't want to be facing off against someone as prepared as they are if you guys aren't playing your best. So DeNova just staying focused, chatting through those last details as well. No huddle for them, just, as you said, steel faces on, being very calm, very collected. But there's certainly a team that can do the damage. So guys, make sure you get your votes through as well. We do want to see what you think the results will be via Twitter, via Facebook, all those usual ways, because your opinion matters so much. It's so good to see the community kind of getting behind these guys, because Kazna crew, they've got enough friends and fans out there. Whereas DeNova could do with maybe a little bit of a couple more, to see if you guys can support them, because apparently at home you guys are backing Kazna crew quite some way, a big amount there. So DeNova certainly finished above them in the league by quite some way, really. It's the performances were very different through the season, but DeNova showed their true strength. So hopefully we can see DeNova stepping up and proving the people at home wrong.
Yep, certainly. DeNova don't take no for an answer, so I think they're just going to be a really strong team here. But yeah, I can't predict it. I honestly can't. Just going on the passion. Kazna crew look like they have it, but going on just the steely resolve of DeNova, it could go either ways. But we are pretty much ready to get underway. Yeah. So we are going to show you our first map between DeNova and Kazna crew.
Ruinberg is one of our newer city maps, and it's fairly large, being 800 by 800 meters. There are 3 main routes of attack: the roads leading to the city, the road going through the middle, and the village area. Each of these have 2 important areas to control. The city has very large roads and plenty of opportunities for teams to flank. The long roads also provide for good sniping areas as well as corner shooting. Teams often push through the village area, and once controlled, the team can move on to the enemy's base. You should pick heavy tanks with high alpha damage for corner sniping, as well as a faster tank for the middle spot.
So as you can see, they're very close on the ratings, I believe, by a small margin. DeNova have the edge from us at least, but you guys at home tend to disagree. And as we saw, they're coming from the beautiful tones of Joseph Müller, telling us about Ruinberg and the way it's played, but we will be going to that bit in just a moment. And in the south, in the gold and yellow, it's going to be Kazna crew, and in the north, in blue, it will be DeNova. Now, both going off to a fairly unique start here. What are we seeing?
So DeNova just charging straight out the middle. They haven't committed all their tanks there, still sending the AMX 5100 into the city area. International just charging forwards. Kazna crew sending the 110 and the IS-3 up and towards the middle area, obviously wanting to get it, but it's Veko and Hyber to charge in.
This is unbelievably close. It's those 1390s now staring each other down, waiting on those reloads. Couple more seconds, and it's both available. Here we go. They are going to just juke this one out. Every shot counts. YR being focused down. No, it's International falling. It's Hyber claiming it. Swift response come in, but can it be enough? Can YR take down Veko? A number of shells remain, but is it enough to take them through all the way here? 144 HP. YR needs to get the hell out of there. He now finally has the option to get moving, but the battle continues elsewhere. We're seeing Crux doing the work in that 110, taking down Ron, but not the biggest target here because the shot's coming in. Cheeky little maneuver from Phoenix, that massive player for DeNova. And wow, Crux's 110, you said those snapshots. We've just seen it in absolute key. At the moment, Kazna crew still have the player advantage, but can they keep hold of it? FC Dynamo and Phoenix still stand. Two key players, but on very small amounts of HP here. FC Dynamo down to 201. Phoenix, 1,088. So it's still got a fair bit there, but it's a lot of time to be working with and a lot of Kazna crew to take down.
And a lot of reload for Phoenix and FC Dynamo. Phoenix was so late to the party then he just simply couldn't get the damage down. But when he does, if he does manage to connect it, he will do a lot. Anyone who's really got any HP from the side of Kazna crew is still Mojo on 1188. But you can see FC Dynamo is going to get taken out. Brilliant shot from Still Mojo and that IS-3. That will allow Kazna crew to push up, get the positional advantage. And the other thing is, Phoenix has been spotted in that AMX 5100, so Kazna crew can do whatever they want. They can play this however they want. They have all the information, they have the tanks left, and that passion really shining through.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Phoenix is that last man standing with Winnie the Pooh tier 1, but very little damage can be done. Paluda has spotted him out, going to take at least a good chunk of damage on Winnie the Pooh, finally forcing the shot coming back out. Now Phoenix, a shell down, has to manage 4 players who are not far away. They're going to go try and force the cap out here, bring the players towards him. 4 players closing in. First shell will land, reset that cap point, and he has to adjust, find the best position possibly here. Don't get me wrong, 3 players are low for Kazna, but are they low enough? Phoenix takes another big shell. This is going to go down to the wire. Can Phoenix do this though? He's still trying. Cap still going on. Another shell will land. He is a sitting duck, and DeNova look destroyed already. The Kazna crew certainly in good spirits.
Well, yeah, DeNova just had no answer there. They just got absolutely trounced. I mean, Winnie the Pooh left there, but there's no honey in the tree for him. He's going to get taken down. A win for DeNova on our first map, Ruinberg. Fantastic play by Kazna crew. I think this is the start of something brilliant. Completely surprised. We thought DeNova would take it, although
that's a lie.
I did predict that they would win.
You didn't predict. We predicted.
Yeah, we predicted.
Come on.
But the kind of damage done, look at that. Veko in the AMX 1390, 2,171 damage there. Next up, Narlum, 1.8k. 8.k? No, that wouldn't have been realistic. Only one who really did any damage was Phoenix.
I think the important factor is not who did damage, it's who didn't. International was in the same kind of exchange there in the 1390 with YR, who was in the 1.1k. He only got 730. He was the one to be focused down by Veko and Hyber in that situation, and Veko obviously just landed the shells back to back. It's fairly simple, and you can see the Kazna crew guys in absolutely high spirits, looking very serious before the game. Now, clearly enjoying the factor of that first map under their belt. And there you can see Veko on the screen of yours there. Not the highest damaging player per game normally, but he truly stepped up in this one.
Yeah, and you've got to remember that he actually plays the MX 3090, so he's not really going to hit those top tier damage, apart from the odd game where he just plays fantastically. But, you know, it really was a game of AMX 1390s then. You had the 2 AMX 1390s of Kazna crew against International and YR of DeNova, and it was just 2 against 2. I don't know how Kazna crew won that one. It should have been a fair battle, but the communication and just that synergy this team has together, the friendship, they just got onto YR, they took him down, they went for the one I think DeNova wasn't expecting. I think they expected International to be the first up because he was presenting himself. So he went down 2 shots before Kazna crew's first guy went down, and then it was 1 versus 1. Veko had the better reload, and he could move out. And then you had the Crooks in the 110. He played so well. That snapshot onto YR, taking him out, was just unbelievable. And just having that pure HP and firepower from the IS-3 and the 110, it just allowed them to sit there, wait, and stop any damage coming out from the AMX 5100s and the T69s.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we will be looking towards that next map because the tank picks have pretty much got underway and almost finished there. So why don't you take us through what we've seen so far?
So get the two T1s out of the way. Double AMX 1390 from DeNova, AMX 1390 T69 from Kazna crew, Pershing T69 from both teams. Last pick from DeNova's is the 416. Last pick from Kazna crew is the T69. So that 416 being picked out to DeNova, good choice I think by them. Only real disadvantage of that tank is the traverse of the turret, only minus 70 to plus 75 each way. But great set of tank lineups. I think you can't really knock any of them. They're just better in different situations.
Yeah, and well, if we see it like we did before, Kazna crew certainly kind of led the reins on the situational kind of progression. If they can do it again, it'll be highly impressive. DeNova generally very strong on Prokhorovka, let's keep that in mind. This is the map that we predicted would go their way. But, you know, Kazna crew on that high note now, they are clearly up for this one, and Prokhorovka is going to be a certain map to watch here, very defining. If Kazna crew can convert the confidence of the first map now into the second, that means there's trouble for DeNova. In no way, shape or form are they out of the woods because, you know, DeNova may be strong. They may be the better team on paper, but Kazna crew have turned up today and DeNova looked defeated after that one. If you saw it on the faces on the cameras, they were not in a good way at all. They looked, head in hands already like, what just went wrong? We did not expect that. No one thought that was going to happen. So it's going to be a hard situation for them now to kind of pick themselves back up from and go, okay, clean slate now, we're better on Prokhorovka than Kazna crew are. So we're going to have to find out if they can really turn up for it because we know Kazna crew is strong, but can DeNova kind of match it now? So guys, let's not waste any more time. Let's head over to that introduction video with the lovely Joe Miller on Prokhorovka.
Prokhorovka, a large map at 1,000 by 1,000 meters which allows teams to stretch their legs and artillery to test their skills. There are three primary routes of attack: over the left tree road, the middle area and towards the town. The tree road is very open and flat but has a very large number of bushes and trees that provide good cover if you're not shooting. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. Both teams are fairly symmetrical and only offer small hills and brushes as cover. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. The railroad that splits the map has a large number of bushes running alongside it that provides good cover and the occasional route of attack in the village and hill area. Teams should look towards taking fast tanks and artillery as they complement each other on this expansive map.
So, welcome into that second map. As we mentioned, will be Prokhorovka. Looking at those stats once again, you know, you guys voted for Kazna crew. They clearly pulled it off, but DeNova still the favorable side in our eyes and in the rankings. So let's not write them out of it just yet. And it will be DeNova starting in the north in blue and in the south in yellow. It's going to be Kazna crew. Now, what do we expect with the tanks they've chosen?
So DeNova are heading over towards that left side. Phoenix taking out the base trash. YR International FC Dynamo heading over the train side. Quite unusual actually, because from the north you usually just go straight up the middle or head over toward the 1-2 line. So a completely different strategy from these guys. We need the Poo just destroying all the houses to stop any tanks sneaking around and getting themselves into the cap, and also finding himself a nice little bush to camp down in and get the spots out. Kazna crew also doing the same thing. Although slightly more clustered, they're also sending a tank up the hill. They're sending most of them in towards that village, and I think they also have the better positions. But maybe they don't know that that DeNova are there, and they're going to push up, and they're going to get themselves caught out.
Well, let's find out. This is not the normal style we see coming out from DeNova or Kazna crew here. First kill coming in there in favor. Bad news picking up Cobra Leone, so that does go over to DeNova. See another shell going towards YR. He's been taken low. Maybe a little bit of an awakening now for DeNova, going, okay, maybe there are a couple of tanks here. They have not gone into the village this time. They're sitting quite far back to an extent. International in a fantastic position, though. He could really cause some damage if Kazna crew overextend, in my eyes.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful about overextending. It's what usually loses the game, but you can see the AMX 1390 on hill. Vecco got himself a brilliant little position there. The view range is fantastic. Bad news does take out Cobra Leone in that T1, but he also receives a couple there, down to 941. brilliant position from Veko.
Yeah, we're seeing it coming through. Bad News is going very low. Another shell blind hit there, down to 428. Not going to hit another off of that one, but Bad News, his name is living up to it. He's down to 199. He's had to use FC Dynamo as a meat shield, pretty much. This is unbelievable. And Veko now can just scamper away in that 1390. Does get caught in the back from International, though. Doesn't manage to escape completely unscathed, down to 500 HP himself. And now we're seeing a lovely little back and forth battle between these guys, and Veko had to reposition then, and the split second.
This is what we were talking about. From the north, you get themselves in position for another engagement.
Indeed, Narlum now going over Hyber, taking a bit of a pounding. FC Dynamo using that fantastic gun depression there, trying to get the fire up towards it, and we are seeing the 1390 taking down Hyber, so that Pershing already falling fairly low. Now Still Mojo comes in, gets some shots through. Phoenix still standing, FC Dynamo just definitely hanging around. Ooh, from the back, that 416 playing such an important role. Can they connect another? Yes, Narlum takes another big shell. Kazna are taking a bit of a pounding here. But still, you see them trying to claw it back. Ron did fall, but DeNova certainly holding strong here. A couple of players are damaged. We saw the early damage going down towards Bad News being phenomenal, but already Kazna struggling a little bit now. They've lost Hyber, they've taken a lot of damage, but can they convert it?
DeNova certainly in the better position, as you said, in terms of HP. Still Mojo looks aggressive, though. He gets spotted out with that 50-meter proxy by FC Dynamo. Phoenix, he's been the pivotal player so far. That amazing M63 gun just does so much damage, 320 average. He's dealing with Still Mojo and Pilauda, taking him down furthermore, but FC Dynamo, he's getting sniped out.
Yeah, FC Dynamo's in trouble. He's gone fairly low, down to 367. Veko doing once again a phenomenal job here. That man has been absolutely on point, and Kazna are not going down without a fight now. Phoenix, he knows there's players just rolling towards him. Paluda already going towards that cap point. There's that tier 1 coming into effect, really forcing the hand of DeNova now. They're going to have to start thinking about this one. There's one player laying in wait, which will probably end up coming across and dealing with it. But look at that, Crux already laying in wait, waiting for FC Dynamo and YR to make their move back over. Does catch a glimpse. He should be able to get a good couple of shells off here, and actually Paluda's taking the damage, so Witherboo does do the work, but still, International coming over, YR as well. They are running back to try and scamper away that tier 1 from their flag, but the shells they're receiving are huge. Veko is not far away at all, and once they get that reload up or they get into the position they want to, they can really take him down. Doesn't get the shot he needed. That is huge. Veko still standing somehow. This is unbelievable. This man is absolutely on a tear.
Is Pillar still out? Still Mojo and Nolan pushing onto Phoenix. He does take him out, and he gets responded 1 for 1, but Kazna, they have the better positions. Can they convert it?
They are turning this one around. FC Dynamo getting absolutely pounded by Crux here. If he picks this one up, this will be a huge advantage. He's done it. Crux might have just pulled this one back. YR and International, the last two important tanks standing here for DeNova. Can they do anything? Well, let's keep in mind, both teams have really low HP here. Veko down to 300s, Crux 400s, Narlum 300s, and it's almost very similar with only 2 tanks for DeNova to 600 and 800 for these guys, so it won't be much. It's all about those reloads. They're already available for now for DeNova. We are seeing Veko waiting on his coming up, but Crux still has his. First shot comes in, replied by International, who just scampers away. But YI is sticking this one. He's taken down Crux. That's going back to a 2v2 now. Veko and Narlum putting it through. Oh my god, Narlum and Veko just need to find International now. The one last real tank standing here. My god, this is an absolutely intense game.
He's going to have to pull out all the stops. 2 versus 1. And he's got his reloads not up yet. He's down to 592 in his AMX 3090. Winnie the Pooh still knocking about. He's going to try and get himself in the cap. But International has got all the weight of the world on his shoulders. He is called International, so fair enough. Maybe trying to head up that hill. Veko's down to 348. Narlum down to 346. Very similar. What was interesting as well is that International and YR, they split off to try and attack Veko. Veko played it perfectly, scampered off, and that caused those 2 tanks just completely useless. Crooks played fantastically, he pushed in and took him down, but now the cap's on the way.
And now the man we really should be watching in my eyes will be International, as he is such a key player in here. He's the pivotal player in this one. They've got an idea of where he may be. You can see those, they're just pinging out on the map. They're looking for him. Veko going hunting. 1 minute left there and 15 seconds to find the tier 1, which is no real threat. It's still International. Fully reloaded, 600 around HP, has to find Narlum and Veko. Now he can do this. There's nothing stopping him doing this apart from himself. Narlum is now heading towards the village, just where he's waiting. 1 minute left. You can see Kazna crew are being so cautious here. They do not want to give anything away. They don't want to just kind of, lose one player without a reply. So 50 seconds left. International playing smart, taking his time. needs to find the best position possible to deal with this, and Narlum's just laying in wait. Veko trying to find a little spot towards that tier 1 and maybe picking him up and kind of alleviate the pressure, because already we are seeing International now pushing in towards the opposition. We need to keep our eyes on him because he's so damn close towards Narlum. He's pointing him out. He's got the first shot. That is vital. If he gets one more, Narlum is out there. Oh, he's done it. 1v1 now. The HP is so close. Slightly in favor to International. 23 seconds on the cap point. If Winterpoo spots out Veko as well, that is absolutely incredible stuff here. Veko just weighing it out, making sure he lands the shot. He's done that. Now we're down to the real core here. 1v1. Mano a mano. Veko up against International. And oh my god, that was close. Veko just about escaping. And International, my god, what a player.
He's got one shot left and he just shot it, so he's now got about 35 seconds left on that relay on the MX-3090. Veko still got 4 in the chamber when it's 1 versus 1. And Veko knows it. He knows International is reloading. He knows he's been counting it. About 20 seconds left on the clock. Can Veko pull it out? They've got the same amount of HP. They are equally skilled, but this is where it's crunch time. And Kazna crew already 1 map up. This is where they need to make it happen. Veko's going to be trying to chase on to International, but 2 minutes left. Can he do it?
They're literally looping around each other right now, doing the big, long kind of ways through, checking over. Can't see Veko anymore. Maybe expecting that counter push around the side, but this is so close. One player getting a spot can really change this game. And International backing away, Veko doing the same. And let's bear in mind, these two basically started in this position right next to each other. And well, International's heading back there. Veko, on the other hand, completely other way.
Not enough time to cap either. That mark has just been passed. You need about 1 minute and 40, 1 minute and 50 seconds to do so. So it's only going to be about damage and kills for now. 8 points apiece, AMX-3090 apiece, 1 minute and 30 seconds to make something happen. This game has been absolutely incredible. But to top it off, who will win this engagement? Or will they just go for the safe play and not take a win and just go for that draw? Because everything's on the line here. International, though, he looks hungry and he's going to be pushing forwards, trying to get the spots out. He has got himself the position I was talking about earlier on the hill so he can have the upper ground. But Veko's not stupid. He's not going to go anywhere near there because he's just going to get spotted immediately. Obviously, the spotting cap in World of Tanks is 425 meters. The MX-3090 with all the crew skills, he might even have coated optics, will be sitting around that mark. And despite the camo, obviously, Veko might have, he will still get spotted around that 350 mark and he will get taken down really, really quickly. And it does look like he's just going to be scampering into the furthest corner he can find, and that's A1.
Yeah, indeed. 34 seconds left, and I think we're pretty safe here. International, unless he makes some obscene blind shot, just slams it home. I think these two teams will be playing this one out for the draw here, but my god, that was close. And I don't think, and obviously they don't realize how close on HP really it came down to at moments. 348 to 360. And these two players, absolutely phenomenal at what they do. 32 or 30%-ish left of their overall HP. And, you know, it could have gone either way here. So they're going to be playing out for the safety draw. We will be replaying this one. So this will be a draw between the two. You'll have to see who can really step up on the next time around, because that was a phenomenal game.
Amazing. Fully amazing. And what was phenomenal especially was the fact that DeNova actually got themselves back. A little bit of careless play from Kazna crew, but look at this. 2 guys left alive. Only about 30 damage between them, both at 1.8k. It just shows a small amount of damage that makes a difference. But, you know, breaking down that game a little bit more, Kazna crew had the advantage of taking down, I believe it was FC Dynamo, very low. And then, you know, once they did that, they came up towards the railway, trying to do some damage, but Phoenix was in the background, just providing so much backup. And he actually managed to take down 1 tank. So fantastic play by him in the 416 there. But Kazna crew, I think, threw it a little bit, but they got it back by sending, by taking down the tanks, Phoenix. And distracting International and Wild that were pushing around in the MX-1390.
Yeah, and I think they're actually going to go for... Are they re-picking here for changes? Or are they just going to be doing it for the sake of it? I think they... they are going to go for the re-pick. Interesting choice. I don't think there was anything wrong with these lineups, really. Maybe not fancying that 416 in play for DeNova. Not sure. I think the 416 did fairly well. You know, 1.5k is not, you know, terrible to walk away from. What sort of changes do you think we might see coming out here?
I think... I think the 4-6. I think we're going to see that again.
Yeah.
Maybe a 50-100. Not a massively favoured tank on this map because its size. But if both these teams are heading over towards the village, then it's a good pick either way. But so far, T1 AMX 3090 for DeNova, double T1 for Kazna crew, AMX 3090 T1 for DeNova, AMX 3090 T69 for Kazna, Pershing AMX 3090 for DeNova. So indeed, going for that Pershing once again, it did do really quite well in the last game, but it just has to step it up a little bit here. They have to take the reins. But again, I just don't understand why DeNova went over towards that right side. It doesn't work for almost the exact same reasons. Kazna crew couldn't quite win, but still it was a bad tactical decision from DeNova in my opinion. So now Kazna crew, penultimate pick, the T69 and the Pershing. Now this is the change we were waiting for. The T32 being picked up by DeNova. So it looks like they are going to be maybe sitting up towards the middle. The T32 is a good tank for hull down position. It's the best tank for hull down positions, full stop. And that includes tier 10 in my opinion. But now I'm just waiting on that last pick from Kazna crew. Obviously thinking about what they want to be doing about this T32. Maybe even picking that artillery, the Lorraine 15551. They have that option on the card. It is a tier 8 tank, so it does fill the criteria. But what player can really pick it up? I have no idea. But what do you think about this T32? Do you think it's a good pickup? We've seen it before, and it's always been a little bit dubious.
I think it's highly indicative of where you're going to be playing, which you don't particularly want to be giving away half of the game here, but
Sure.
you know, we're going to have to wait and see, really. It comes down to the player it's given to, and no massive changes coming in for, you know, the Kazna crew side. They're fairly happy the way they are, so very interesting stuff. You know, DeNova clearly not feeling like they enjoyed the way it played out last time, and switching it up a little bit, but have to wait and see how that one really pans out.
Yeah, they got rid of my 4-1-6, which I said they wouldn't do. I'm quite surprised because it did do very well, but I guess this is more to do with a change in strategy than as opposed to a change in tanks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I can imagine it probably. I think one of the players is having a little bit of an issue there, so hopefully we can resolve that one. I think it's just the lights getting in his face.
But his name is, he's in the team DeNova, Nova's son, so he should be able to deal with it.
Wow. I don't like casting with you anymore. I think we need to get you replaced. Jesus Christ, I'm just going to get Mitch up here or something.
Get Steven.
No.
Do you think Steven? No, you've done that before.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I think we just need to get Rookil. That's what we need.
Oh.
That's what we need, right?
Shots fired.
Yeah,
right
you know, you're mean to the NA scene, so I need to be nice to them.
Oh, it's a bit
you know,
of banter.
It's back and forth. Oh, it's a bit of banter.
Yeah, a bit of banter.
He's just a washed-up player being a bit bitter, I think.
Yeah, sure.
But no, we are just waiting for these guys to get away. Hopefully they can start pretty soon. I don't see what they're waiting on. Nothing's particularly changed apart from obviously that new edition of the T32. But no, very interesting stuff for Kazna crew. I think we can kind of look back at how well they're playing at the moment. They had a mistake there. I think we can say that. DeNova certainly brought the reins back, but you know, it's interesting. DeNova, very strong team when we last saw them, seeming to struggle a little bit here.
Yeah, that's for sure. But we are ready to head in game. Once again, the only change being the T32, and I believe DeNova's also picked up an extra MX 3090. No change for the side of Kazna though, and no change in terms of the spawn positions. Interesting to see if these two change anything, but you can see the concentration there on Crooks's face. He's been playing so well, such a pivotal player. He's come so far, and he was such a pivotal player in OM as well. So great to see him here. But at the moment, it's still 1-0 to DeNova, heading into the second game here on Prokhorovka. The first game, ultra close, but didn't quite make the step to make it a win.
Yeah, most certainly not. They did kind of stumble at that last hurdle, but both players, one of the men you're seeing on the screen right now, Veko, is playing it safe towards the end, and International, the other, onto the DeNova side, obviously playing quite carefully himself. And we are seeing Phoenix, Bad News, and Co. heading to a bit of a different start here, a bit more normal almost.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard start. That's what we thought, and I did say the T32 in the middle. Veko getting punished immediately down to 8-4-2. No damage onto DeNova though, and International will be reloading that MX 3090. But the further Bad News manages to get himself up onto that hill, the worse it'll get for the side of Kazna crew. They have to be very careful. Phoenix now joining him on his right flank. Both their best hull-down tanks now here, the Pershing and the T-32 on the hill. I believe the Phoenix are trying to make a couple of blind shots, trying to find a tier 1, which is in that general direction, so not bad thinking for them. Whilst Kazna crew just scampering off to the right side, trying to find themselves a good position in that city.
Yeah, claiming that village area now. They seem pretty happy in here. Like still Mojo and Co just get themselves set up, but very interesting stuff. You know, they're still spotted, still, you know, DeNova are fully aware of where the opponent are, but whether or not they can actually do anything about it now is very much a different situation. It'll be almost splitting half this map, slightly more in favor, let's say, to DeNova, as they have that left side from the 1 to the 6 line, but, you know, Kazna have the side with the village, and they can use the cover that's provided and the defilade of that hill, obviously, over the trail road, railroad, excuse me. And they are pushing out quite far, actually, getting quite aggressive here, but I feel as though they're just kind of scouting out, trying to find players like Ron, who is in a lot of trouble, just gets one shot there by Steel Mojo. No surprise, really. But still, it's a fairly normal start now. We've seen it kind of broil down to what we normally see.
That was a complete blind shot, to be fair to him. That was completely blind. He just aimed and shot and did an incredible kill on that tier 1. Crux manages to avoid one there, so at the moment, it looks like DeNova slightly down on their luck, but you know, it's Prokhorovka, so tier 1s don't make that much of a difference. You know, any map where you have caps in the middle of a field where anything can stop it, it's very, very hard to see why the tier 1 is that useful. Obviously, you can put it in a bush, which most teams do, block off a flank stop, tanks pushing up there, but it's definitely not as useful as like a T-32 or an AMX 3090, maybe even an artillery. But you can see DeNova now pushing up that right flank. This is a very classic style of Prokhorovka, like we normally see. Very polarized. Right side, one team. Left side, the other team. Usually the right side, which is indeed populated by Kazna crew from the south. North team towards the left side, the forest road, populated by DeNova there. And International just charging up and down that flank. But, you know, the way this strategy is usually won from the north, so for DeNova, is if they charge up along into the kind of hills, get themselves hull down and just find any tank that's available to shoot and take him down, and then force their way into a flank, come from behind and the center. So it's just a split push. That's what they need to be doing. For Kazna crew, they have a harder job because they will end up having to fly over the middle of a field either way. And then even when they engage head-to-head against the other team, they're still going to be in the open. They're not going to be in the village.
Oh, indeed, and hopefully they're keeping this in mind. They seem to be well aware of the kind of limitations to the positions they're in. They're playing quite carefully, quite cautiously. Generally putting a couple of players up towards the north there by the opposition's cap circle. Not exactly a favourable option on a map like this, but we'll see if it may come into the minds of, let's say, Kazna crew. See what they're up to. You can see them just going back and forth. Veko edging over, takes 2 shells back to back. He needs to back away here. He did get taken down quite low. International there once again doing phenomenal damage. Really being such a key player on this map. No real surprise. He's been an outstanding player throughout the entire season. But still, very nice to see him doing extraordinarily well in a situation like this. So still keeping his eye on that A line. A6 pretty much has almost 3 players from Kazna crew sitting in there waiting to peer over. Veko just teasing back and forth and yet to be spotted again, but you know, seeing these guys just laying in wait, playing carefully. They've got time. They've got 5 minutes and 32 seconds to do something here. Bad news, just being spotted out there, but you can't really make too much of a move here. That's the thing. They seem to be quite polarized.
It's very hard to make a move. The way this deadlock was broken beforehand on this map was that as an artillery. Bad news, just receiving on there. That was a fantastic shot. If we can have a look at the penetration, I'll believe it's actually heat there. But yeah, that was a good little shot there by Narlum. Yeah, that's heat indeed. So yeah, as I was saying, artillery, that can break a deadlock, because as soon as you hit that big shot, things start going awfully wrong. You know, if you get hit for 1.1k damage, we've seen AMX 3090s being taken out. Magus comes to mind, Dr. Toya, Las Vegas from Virtus Pro as well. All these guys, these real unicorns of artillery. That's how the deadlock was broken. But now it's just more sneaky. You know, these shots here, there, everywhere. Veko's taken half his health. But on the other hand, DeNova's also taken a couple. But you kind of want the damage onto one tank as opposed to 2 or 3, if you understand. It's more about being able to rush in and take the low health damage tank down, as opposed to just, you know, okay, take 100 HP off of a T69, for instance.
So now the question is, with that in mind, do you think any team here actually has enough of an advantage to capitalize on anything they have. Do you see any team actually going for this? Because Kazna, in theory, they've got both tier 1 standing, but Veko's taking a big bit of damage. Bad news, let's say, for DeNova took a big chunk as well, but is there anything that's actually done enough yet to really force the hand of them?
I guess it's up to the teams. Personally, if you can collapse onto Veko, yes, okay. He's taken enough damage to be taken down pretty easily. Almost, he's got about 60% left there. But it's about finding him and taking him out. And obviously, he's sitting up next to his pal, MX1390. Next to his T1 indeed. So yeah, he could be a bit vulnerable there. The rest of his team is more setting up towards that village. A couple more blind shots going out, trying to connect one onto Bad News. No luck so far. He's being used perfectly. That T-32 is literally there just to soak shells. If anything, they run out of ammo. But as long as you keep on peeking over and getting spotted, not only distraction, but you're also forcing the reload of the other team.
Yeah, so, excuse me, 3 minutes and 5 seconds left, and it's a game of peeking, really. And as you said, getting those 1 or 2 shots here and there, and maybe hoping that you've done enough damage to really pull something out of it. Veko being probably the prime target if they actually went for anything, but at present, both teams fairly static. No one really going for much. Nolan had to be careful there because he did peer over a little bit. He got spotted out by the opposition, but it's still a very, very cautious game. No team wants to throw this. Already DeNova losing their aggressive and quite dominant edge here, because normally they're a vastly stronger team than Kazna on paper, but they're certainly not displaying it today. And we've seen most of the teams who we saw doing quite well previously not really yet coming to their own.
Yeah, it's again that offline ability. You can one thing to win when you're sitting at home with your home comforts. You got your mum bringing you food. There's another thing when you're asking Steven to bring you food. So all those things come into the equation. But that's Winnie the Pooh going forwards, trying to find some tanks. He's obviously expendable force there. Ron was taken out early on by I think that was Narlan, or that was still Mojo actually in that T69. So Winnie the Pooh just in charge of spotting out. Is there a vulnerability in Kazna defense? Can he spot what exactly is in the south? Because as I said, from the roadside, from the tree roadside, it's a lot easier to push to the south than it is to the north, just because it's further to shoot from the middle. But another kill coming out there. It's Bad News connecting that shell. Brilliant little shot there onto Palauda. Both teams now losing a tier 1.
Yeah, all square, all even, pretty much. That has literally brought it back to level pegging here. Veko's lack of HP probably be the only thing that really defines any player from the other. But has spotted out Winnie the Pooh, but immediately fire comes in from Bad News. Does just about back away from that in time. So still fairly unscathed, or completely unscathed, should I say. And still with 1 minute left. They're playing quite carefully. We are seeing a little bit of movement from DeNova towards the south, but nothing drastic, nothing to the extent that we might assume a move coming out of it just yet. They're literally, you could draw a line almost down the middle of this, and they're almost polar to each other. It's almost mirrored.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's the polar opposite, and I don't think these two are going to make a move. This is almost a complete opposite to the first game we had, where it was all guns a-blazing, but now they're just sitting back, and that's perhaps just a good time to chill out and think of what they want to do. Quite often in an engagement on Prokhorovka, you want to be winning at the beginning, and you want to be making your push based off that. So I think DeNova, they won that initial engagement because they actually hit Veko, and then they could push on and continue gaining advantages. So it's a little harder when both teams are hunkered down, both teams are sitting and waiting, really. So that's why DeNova struggled, that's why Kazna struggled, and that's why this game will be a draw. But I believe Kazna still with the still with one map in the bag. That was Ruenberg, if you're just joining us. This is DeNova by Kazna. No damage done. Not a particularly exciting games by any means.
It was
more
fairly careful.
Yeah, it was more of a just getting yourself sorted and understanding what the other team has the ability to do on this map.
Yeah, and the big thing in my eyes now is, will they repick here? Because I feel as though there was a lot more chance for DeNova in the first setup with the first lineup they went for. They introduced the T-32, and it was almost negated. Do you think they'll go back to maybe repicking here, or do you think it'll be the flat-out run through the same lineup that they just had?
I think DeNova, because they picked that T-32 there, their offensive abilities was quite negated. So I think maybe they will head back to the 4-1-6. But it's so up to them. T1 AMX 3090 coming up for DeNova first, double tier 1 for Kazna crew as we head into our third game, I do believe. Yeah, they are repicking. So they can change things up here. I don't think Kazna crew will, because there's no reason. They almost won the first game, second game. They possibly could have won AMX 3090 T1 for DeNova. So just the standard picks, AMX 3090 T69 for Kazna crew.
Yeah, now, in my eyes, I'm very curious now to see if Kazna crew switch something up, because they've kind of negated everything DeNova have done so far that was fairly unique to them. So that 416, that T32, everything that was slightly adjusted from DeNova, they've just kind of swatted back and gone, no, that's not going to work. Do you think there's anything left that they can pull out here that's not too indicative of what we're going to see? Because every time you do exchange that tank, for example, you're kind of giving away the game that you want to play, or at least the tempo you want to play at. Now, do you feel that if, let's say, DeNova go back to their first game, you know, Kazna crew will already be expecting an aggressive DeNova?
I'm not sure. I think, yeah, maybe. I think if DeNova do end up pushing in, Kazna crew are going to be ready and waiting. As we've seen, you know, Kazna crew are very good offensive, but defensively they struggle a little bit. You know, they are very high on that aggressive scoreboard. So I think DeNova just need to push in. They need to get themselves into the right position. They should be fine. Indeed, they are going back to the 4-1-6. Pretty much this first lineup, actually, with the double AMX 3090 Pershing T69 416 double T1. Kazna crew sticking to their good old lineup, double T69 Pershing AMX 3090 double T1. So they're not changing anything.
See, now, I'm kind of curious now to see how DeNova play this, because they've tested the waters on an aggressive side and as a defensive team, in essence, due to the tank picks. Whereas Kazna crew have always been the same. So maybe now DeNova have found their footing. Like, okay, we know kind of what they like to do against us in both aspects. We can go back to our main strength and kind of play through that. And I'm curious to see if they can kind of make it stick a little bit more, because it did come down to those exchanges. And they may have, you know, done a little bit better than Kazna crew in them, but they just could not finish out the game. That was the thing. It was International and Veko. And that exchange between them was something special, it really was, but they just could not make it stick. And this time around, they might have a bit of a better idea, maybe a little bit of a refresher of how to play against Kazna crew in this one. As you can see, the game loading in. Here we are now, just seconds away from getting away into the third time we'll be watching this. The first, very close, very aggressive towards the end of it, but then we saw Veko and International kind of ignoring each other in the furthest corners away. And now, once again, in the south, it will be Kazna crew, and in the north, in blue, it will be DeNova. So I'm kind of interested to see what they go for here. Will they stick to the same start, or are they going to switch something up?
So the last time DeNova played, they went up into the middle. Kazna crew went up towards the middle as well, but then petered off towards the village. This time, DeNova going back to their old strategy. The first time they played this map and almost got it back as well, of them heading over towards the left side. That's pretty much all their tank. The only one really is Winnie the Pooh. Phoenix in that 4-1-6 is going to be staying there. He's pretty happy to sit back. He did provide a good service last time. This time, Kazna crew just heading straight up the middle, not going over towards the village side. I think that's what perhaps DeNova wants in this case, because they can get that whole right flank. They can get the map control. And maybe they have a good plan against Kazna.
To be fair, the first time Kazna crew went for the exchange, they also went down this road and then adapted over to the village. But last time, DeNova weren't already situated here. They had players kind of being their opposite number, but this time around, it's almost completely different. It's like a bit of a switch. So we will be seeing Kazna crew heading up that 1 and 2 line, whereas the village and the railroad will be occupied by DeNova. Now, who do you think has the better position? Because to be fair, Kazna crew are quite aggressive here. They've pushed up quite some way. They haven't stuck to the usual kind of defilades and hills of the south side of this map. They've kind of pushed along that road, and they're looking for the engagement early on. And Winnie the Pooh could be in for a bit of work here, because he's going to be trying to keep eyes on this section. He's got some trouble soon.
Yeah, it's Veko, though, so he's not going to be able to deal with it. Brilliant little hip shot there by Veko, taking out Winnie the Pooh. First frag again going to Kazna crew as Ron does to spot out Veko there. So, well, and still Mojo indeed. So now DeNova have that information. They know it's kind of where a couple of the tanks are for Kazna crew, and they can also guess where the rest of them are. You know, if you have 2 there, you're probably going to have the rest of the team either there or around towards the middle. This is the latter where Kazna crew staying in the middle, and they do get spotted. So the battle lines have been drawn. But DeNova, they wanted this situation. I think they wanted this situation. I don't think they wanted Kazna crew to push up in towards the village. They want them to head over towards the left side. and that's why they got the 4-1-6.
Yeah, and it's got Phoenix in it of all players. If you really want to get damage done, you wouldn't give him the tank like that in such a pivotal place as well. So Ron's still keeping eyes on as best he can, just sitting there chilling out, waiting to spot any of the Kazna crew who are not too far away, let's bear in mind. Obviously, we're looking at that minimap, they are very, very close to each other. Bad news, just spotting down and looking for a way through. No real spots just yet. Just trying to find out where they are, see if he can catch any of the Kazna crew guys off guard. Before it was Narlum in the position he's now staring down. And a bit of an exchange here, so hopefully he's taken note of the damage that he was able to cause. You're hearing the calls coming out, and actually we are seeing a spot being made this time. You can see they're actually getting very vocal about this. Ron having to back the hell away, trying to find out where the other guy is. And I think there's a bit of a technical problem, so hopefully one of the admins can actually sort that out.
Well, he gets taken out anyway, so that's both tier 1s out for DeNova. Nice little play, but it's tier 1's not that important on this map. Phoenix getting himself into the middle, bad news towards his left, and now Kazna crew really starting to push in. They're being pretty aggressive. Obviously, they got that T69 over towards the right. They got a couple of AMX-3090s, one of which just took out a Ron there, and the rest of their tanks are sitting up in the middle. So they got quite a good, even spread of tanks around the map. And you got to remember, Kazna crew still have both their tier 1s to play. They still got that card. They still can put them in the cap and put that pressure on. And I think that's a legit move, considering DeNova's positions.
I'm still curious to see if they're actually going to play this one out, because I think one of their players had issues. No, I think they are going to wait this one out, because
Yeah.
You don't want to be kind of going in with a disadvantage like this. We'll hopefully get some clarification.
Vocal they are still
yeah, you're not going to kind of get away from these guys if they're getting pretty loud. So hopefully we can get clarification on what's going on there, because I think they're just having a couple of issues.
Internet problem.
Yeah, it might be maybe the PC crashing or something along those lines.
Well, they disappeared. We couldn't see them. A bit weird.
Maybe Invis tanks is the next way forward. You know what I mean? Like next gen camouflage. And look at the parking from Phoenix there. Just chilling out, man. Just
pretty. It's like anti-grav. Anti-grav and
anti-gravity. It's like superpowers meet tanks, like 1-on-1. But
next mod.
But going back away from our discussion about superpower tanks, tweet to us, let us know what superpower you would like to see applied to a very specific tank. Would you like to see the T-32 being able to fly?
Yeah.
You know, that could be an addition.
Can't have mind control because that makes no. Well, I guess
you could.
You can control other
the
tanks.
Opponent, yeah. Like a tier 1 just starts, making this T-32 run around, or maybe like a 4-1-6. But anyway, technical issues aside, that was a very different start. Let's go back and kind of review how this one started out, because that was very different. We can kind of analyze how that happened. So let's kind of talk through what happened there. So in the south, it was Kazna crew, and they did not have a chance to go for the tactic they wanted last time. Last time they went through kind of the normal start, and they had DeNova right in front of them. They kind of split off, didn't they, towards that village.
Yep.
And that's where they kind of started doing a little bit better. They didn't lose too many players. They obviously had Vecco and International in the end, but there was a good kind of start for them there. This time, though, DeNova just immediately went over to the railroad side and just didn't even allow them a chance to get on towards the village. Now, is that just, do you think, DeNova kind of cottoning on to what Kazna crew were finding comfortable in that game?
Yeah, I think they thought Kazna crew were going to do the same thing and push up into the middle, which indeed they did. But the interesting thing was that, well, DeNova from the north, when they went over towards that forest side, they just camped. Kazna crew were very aggressive. They wanted to get the tier 1s out. We saw the T69 head over towards the right. They had loads of things on the cards. So it's always a very hard side to play, but DeNova and Kazna crew, they have that ability, and that first game really gave us a glimpse of what they can do. But we are going to be heading over to a quick 5-minute break while we just sort out the issues we have here and get ourselves reset for our, third game again. It's not really just repeating that game, so do bear with us for just 5 minutes.
Hello and welcome back on the first day of the Wargaming.net League Season 3 Grand Finals. We're right in the second matchup actually, but before we head into the rematch on Prokhorovka, I want to announce the offline challenge for audience here at the venue. I brought some cardboard for you guys and I have some pens lying around, so if you want to win some bonus codes maybe, you just come over and grab a piece of cardboard and some pens and draw an awesome fan sign for your team to support. So if you, I think holding it into the camera kind of increases your chances to win a bonus code. So every time the camera roams around the audience, just hold it in the air and cheer for your team so your team feels supported. That's a nice idea, isn't it? And I already see the first people coming up to my bar. No, sadly, I thought they were coming to take part in the challenge. But Mitch, do you want to draw something? You definitely will, right? Okay, cool. Then cardboards, pen, easy, right? Easy instruction. And I'm waiting for your signs, so I don't want to keep you from the game. I think Lauren and Ollie are already waiting. Quick break. Okay, so the man in my ear is telling me that we're not ready yet. We're heading into a quick break that you can use to, I don't know, do some stuff at home, laundry for example, but don't be way too long because we'll be back in a few. See you then.
So, welcome back. Hopefully all the technical issues have been resolved. I believe the teams are just about ready to get themselves started once again back into Prokhorovka. If you missed that map, we thought we'd show you about 7 times before we have a winner. So I think they are actually ready. I'm seeing them saying in chat, hopefully they've got the tanks picked, so we're not going to be waiting around another half an hour to see if they can decide what they want to roll with. And I'm very interested to see what they go for a start here. You know, we've seen a couple of different variations. We saw possibly levitating tanks, which was a new addition. But I'm very interested to see what they actually use here. If they go for that same sort of lineup, we are seeing the very similar tanks to the last start. So it's pretty much a restart rather than a repick or a kind of rematch. So think of it that way. And we will just be waiting on the go-ahead from the teams. I think they're just going to be loading in right now, so we'll be jumping straight in as soon as it's in-game. But, okay, so we saw a very unique start, so I think we can kind of read into what the teams will be thinking, at least at this point, because Kazna crew went for pretty much a bit of an awkward start there. They didn't have the kind of smoothness they did before, and they didn't have the kind of penetration towards the village that they had because DeNova beat them to the punch. This time, do you reckon they might split someone maybe to the right side of the tracks? It's not exactly the ideal start from the south there, and kind of against DeNova in the north, we have a much easier route. How do you think they're going to go about this one now?
I think they are going to go for that same split up towards the tracks. It just seems logical. That's what they did last time. Yeah, Kazna crew didn't really get a sneak peek of that. Didn't really get any tanks spotted. But Kazna crew were winning the previous match. Had taken out a couple of tier 1s before it was reset. But yeah, DeNova going over towards the right side. Kazna crew going for the classic middle push with most of their tanks.
Yeah, indeed. So, interesting start here. And I want to see what Kazna crew do now, because they've had the exchange before with DeNova and it didn't go perfectly well. It was pretty much a stalemate. This time we've seen, the likes of International going back to that spot he just rained absolute terror from on towards the opponent when he got to that overview with Veko as well, obviously for the other side. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. We are seeing Kazna crew using that position they normally do. They enjoy this. They pushed up quite aggressively last time as well, so maybe we're seeing a couple more tanks actually sitting a little bit further back. Last time we didn't see 3 tanks back here. It was maybe 1 or 2 to initially start with, and we saw a rotate come over. But this time it seems as though DeNova are happy to sit back by their flag. I can imagine it's at 4-1-6 with Phoenix once again, but I can imagine Veko's already well aware that he's going to be the player there. Do you think we might see a couple of really damaging blind shots coming through?
Yeah, it could possibly be. You want to be taking run out. You can see how clever DeNova are. If you look at the bush towards the left, they've destroyed half of it, so it's easy to destroy, but they can also put Ron behind it and also that barn towards further towards the left. So DeNova's thinking, okay, so we got this tactic. It's a really good tactic, but the only way it can be beaten is by putting the other team putting pressure on in the cap. That's exactly what I want. Phoenix does receive a big shell there. He's down to 959, but he also replies with one onto Hyber in his Pershing, so he's gone from 1,440 down to 1,125. Veko receiving one, he could be in trouble.
Yeah, there's some good damaging rolls coming through here from Phoenix mostly. He's been such a pivotal player. He got the initial shot onto Hyber from obviously losing Winnie the Pooh after that spot. He kind of got the idea of where they were. Followed up onto Veko because he fancied it. This guy's absolutely on point. He has lost a tiny bit of health, but you don't play that tank as a tanky role. You know what I mean? You don't want it to be taking a load of damage. You play it exactly how he is, teasing back and forth over the kind of peak of the hill slightly, and still Mojo was the one player to land that shot towards him, so trying to look for the follow-up here. Hopefully they're not completely ignoring the fact that he could be moving around a touch, and he has, and he's readjusted here, unique positioning, and International almost doing the same thing on the other line, the other end of the line, with that 1390, just peering across, seeing if anyone was going on a counter rotate. But lovely positioning from Ron as well. Still fully, they're no one's aware he's here as of yet, and he's really keeping the opposition kind of in eyesight at this moment. And you can see when they push even further.
Yeah, he will be a pivotal player. But there'll be a time when Kazna crew realize that they're not being spotted by tanks towards the right or the north. And not towards the middle, so there has to be a tier 1 somewhere. Kazna crew knows that. Veko might try and take him out, but he's got to be careful because last time he peeked, he did get a face full of shells from Phoenix. But Kazna crew being constantly spotted, and that's Ron's brilliant position. He's getting that perfect line of sight up the hill, and that's really allowing DeNova to rotate. But now we can see Kazna crew Veko heading around. He's trying to find out that tier 1 if he can. He's also got Phoenix to worry about. Maybe,
really is prowling around
but he hasn't been spotted, so he knows Phoenix is not peeking, or he's just not there, and it's the latter. He's just not there.
See, and that's the beauty of World of Tanks at times. It's not just the information you receive, it's what you don't as well. It's just as important. Finally, a little bit of counterfire coming through. FC Dynamo going fairly low. Bad news as well. Excuse me, backing away. Doesn't go fairly low just yet. A bit getting ahead of myself. But we do see finally Ron being found by Veko there. Tier 1 will fall, so we'll lose the vision from the 1 to 5 line pretty much for DeNova, but they've done a fair bit of damage, but they've lost both their tier 1s. Is this enough of an exchange? So doing a bit of damage towards Veko, a bit of damage towards Hyber. Is that enough to kind of account for losing Ron and Winnie the Pooh here?
It's not, I don't think. It's not just about losing Ron and Winnie the Pooh, it's also allow Kazna crew to push forwards and get themselves into an aggressive position. FC Dynamo being punished there, down to 1,094. So bad news getting tracked. This is a charge from DeNova. I don't think it will work.
Yeah, they are certainly trying to play from the baseline here, looking for a way through. Cobra Leone keeping eyes on these guys. Hyber and Crux not too far away, certainly doing the work. Crux on the reload. And, well, DeNova are hoping for this one. They're going to be making their push across right now. Narlan backing away a touch, trying to find the best position possible. You can see these guys now finally lining up. The cap is underway. It's being pressured. Crux gets one to the back. Make it two. International's cheeky beak suddenly feels a little bit treacherous. He's got down to 629 HP. Further fire will come in from that right side there. I believe that was Bad News laying down a couple of shells. He's fairly damaged himself though, so it's not a completely clean exchange. Veko is in trouble, as is Hyber. FC Dynamo going around will be able to stand up to these two. He does get taken down. No, in the end he takes down Veko, but finally falls to Hyber. And we are seeing that cap still underway. And Kazna crew doing quite well here in the damage rolls.
Phoenix has got to push in Hyber, and it's also not an auto-loading tank, so it's just the non-auto-loading tanks. Hyber's got the HP advantage there.
But can he make it count? He's taken Phoenix really low here. Where's Phoenix's friends? Where's the backup? Where's the help he needs? He's, oh, nice little shell. Takes him down to 260. Narlan now coming around for the assist. Needs to help out his team, but it's too little too late. Phoenix took him out. And now we are seeing Phoenix, Bad News, Wire, and International standing against only really 3 damage-dealing tanks. Crux takes a face full of it. We are seeing Wire going huge. Hyber down, Narlan down. He's looking for more. Still Mojo trying to get in towards Phoenix here, but Crux takes a shell. That cap is still going, folks. 25 seconds. Phoenix stopping Still Mojo in his tracks. And now just Crux standing in the way for DeNova to get back to that cap point. Paluda is the one making that tick down. Oh, beautiful shot coming through. And that just means Crux really is the man to be watching here. He's taken down one. He's got 3 other players to find. As much as this man is talented, it's not going to be happening. And DeNova will be picking up this map as soon as they find Cobra Leone.
It's only that little tier 1 left. Shame he doesn't play the T2 because he was so brilliant. Phoenix is going to be surrounding himself and taking down Cobra Leone. A map in the favor of DeNova, bringing the scoreline 1-1. Massive congratulations to them. A couple of rough starts, but finally coming around and coming through with a brilliant little win.
Yeah, fantastic play coming from them in the end. And as you mentioned, it was just those skirmishes, the correct kind of fight choices they made and where they kind of focused their attention towards that really started panning in their favor in my eyes. And fair play to them, they made it count. So they are finally all even again, but we need to start looking towards that next map because it feels that we've been here for a long time on Prokhorovka. The next one will be Ensk. So who does this one favor?
DeNova, 100%. These guys are the Ensk gods. I might end up eating my own words, but it'll be better than nothing. I think they have that just straight line ability. Himmelsdorf, they're good at. I always say they're very good at that map, but Ensk, they're just unbelievable at. They have that real ability just to use the green side, switch off, come into the middle, use the city side, and just go back and forwards all the time and find a weakness and probe. And also, you know, when it comes down to that firefight in the city, if it does come down to that, they're just incredible at it. But it's always a hard battle between these two. Now 1-1 apiece. The next map is not a decider. It just brings the score to the favor of whichever team takes it, so 2-1. But DeNova's not going to be too overconfident because I think that's what ended up losing them the first game on Ruhrberg. They were just overconfident, they overstepped their mark, and they got punished horribly for. They just got themselves back and chilled down on Prokhorovka, that amazing flank from the side. It was fantastic. YR playing it perfectly there in his AMX 1390, also good positional play. From the tanks in the middle. So now moving on to Ensk, it's going to be less about that dynamic play, more about that heavy tank play, and that's where DeNova excel especially.
Yeah, and I think they needed that last win. They really did. Even if they are as strong as they are, and Ensk, to take it all the way through to the likes of Mainz and Himmelsdorf, just motivationally would be crushing more than anything. And that's what we need to look towards, is how they're doing mentally. They don't look as focused or steely faced as they was before. They really showed very little emotion, but at the moment they look fairly disappointed. It doesn't look like they're having great victories. They're not having clean-cut games like normal. Towards the end of the season, for DeNova, they were really challenging the top guys and really doing well for themselves. But at the moment, they're not looking as strong. For a team that you back to the absolute hills, this can't be feeling good.
Yeah, it's an uneasy feeling. I think that's the way I describe it. As you said, I'm a massive DeNova fan. Just following their story since season 1, ups and downs. This is the team that was taken up by the team Meet Your Makers in season 1, now known as DeNova, under that organization's umbrella. And doing very well there in roster changes. We've been talking about really improving their team. Still a little bit uneasy. They haven't quite got that communication down to a T. Now jumping on to our next map, which will be, of course, Ensk. Double T1 for DeNova, AMX 5100 IS3 for Kazna crew. So just the standard picks at the beginning. But what do you expect to see? Do you see a 416 or a T69 coming out from these two?
Considering how the last game went, that they tried to kind of create these variations and they strayed away from their initial choice of that 416. And they tried to adapt to maybe the T32. I think DeNova need to go back to the basics that made them so good at this. They don't need to over-adapt to their opponent. They just need to play a very good game, and that's what they're very good at. Now, to me, it's, how many IS3s, how many 5100s more than is there going to be a really random tank in the mix. So, in my eyes, I think DeNova's going to go very much back to the groundwork. If I was them, I'd certainly tell them to be doing that. Whether or not they do, completely down to them.
Yeah. It's all about that personal preference, I guess, at the end of the day. But tank picking has continued. MX 5100 IS3 for both Kazna crew and DeNova. So, once again, that's 5100 and the IS3 being the two most favored tanks. To be fair, not a bad call at all. They are the best at what they do, providing firepower in terms of the MX 5100, providing armor and just general durability, as well as obviously alpha damage. Of course, that is the IS3's forte. Now looking for the last pick from DeNova. But Kazna crew at least have gone for the triple MX 5100. IS3 being picked up by DeNova, so they're going for the triple IS3.
Yep.
Remember last time, Lemming Train versus Evil Panda Squad, it was actually Lemming Train with that triple IS3 to take it. This could be a repeat of that.
It very well could be, but that was quite a unique game, wasn't it? That was a lot of back and forths on the green side, then it finally came down to a bit of a city presence. It was a really hard one to kind of call, so I'm kind of interested to see how that one goes here. It's not going to be... I don't know, people are very happy to kind of adapt and exchange. I think they're just going to be changing a couple of settings here and there, so hopefully that'll be resolved soon. It's obviously the first day for these guys to be getting everything right and making sure all the settings are pretty much perfect, so let's keep that in mind and then leave them to kind of do their thing for a bit. But it's more the point that, as we mentioned, there's been a lot of teams trying to switch things up and they're not actually working. They tried to add that, I think it was the T32, sorry, excuse me, on Prokhorovka, if I'm not mistaken, rather than that 416. And maybe they overcompensated for Kazna crew's presence there, maybe thinking, okay, let's play defensive then. We didn't do very well when we played aggressive with a 416 or in more of a damaging role when we were in that sort of position, and he got a bit close. Let's go back to play passive. And then it was even, less, kind of fruitful, should I say. So I'm kind of curious to see how they play this one. They've gone for the kind of standard setup, as you mentioned, but where do you think they're going to be playing? Because Ensk, to me, has always been a city map, and it always has been. But we've seen a lot more teams slowly but surely edging in towards that green side, and they're happy to try it out. Yeah,
they're happy to innovate. The green zones is a hard place to play. I think it's quite comforting to know that you can rely on your thousands of hours in World of Tanks when you play in the city. The hundreds of, probably even thousands of battles you've played in a heavy tank, it really does help you here. Whereas the green zones are always a little bit uneasy. It's a little bit unpredictable, where that real foundation of tanks doesn't really come into the equation as much as it would do in just a city engagement. You're more reliant on your team members, which is quite often a good feeling, but also a little bit unnerving. It's
unnerving, isn't it, when it's out of your own hands, because let's say you play the city role, every single brick and block in that place. You've sat in probably these positions, watched down those lines so many times, you know it inside out, but you move into a position where let's say your flank that you previously could watch yourself almost is covered by a teammate. You've got to put your complete trust in these guys. So it is a little bit more, let's say, I wouldn't say taxing, but it's a lot more draining on these guys to have to completely put their trust in their own teammates. So very interested to see if what sort of start they go for here. And where do you think a city push?
Yeah, I think a city push. It's obviously dependent on which team starts where.
Yeah.
But DeNova from the north was always a city pushing team. DeNova from the south was always a city pushing team. This might be a bit of a gamble, as you can see. Has got a poker chip there, and he's just pretty skillful, to be honest. That is pretty impressive. I wonder who that is, but fair play to him. Oh, he just dropped it there.
Are you really commentating chip spinning now? Is this
chip spinning?
Is this what's happened to us? It's gone downhill. I would say drastically, but it's been a slow trickle downhill for us. It's like the brains are just seeping through our noses. But that's not saying much. It's not much seeping, is it really?
Well,
it's not much to go.
At least for you.
Wow, cruelty at its finest. It's just for the lack of Red Bull, because apparently it's bad for me. Who'd have thought it, right? I just get sat here with lemons.
What we need is black energy. That's the real stuff.
Yeah, most certainly. But anyway, let's get ready for that third map, which will be Ensk.
Ensk is a simple map on the face of it, but requires the most skillful team play to play properly. Being such a small map at 600 by 600 meters, the areas of attack are confined to through the city, through the railroads, or through the green zone. The fearsome city side, often famed for its fierce firefights, the railroads and green zone areas are hard to play as they have many death alleys. The railroads provide little cover but good sniping locations. Tanks can shoot over and navigate through the trains to ambush and weaken the opposition. When playing Ensk, always keep in mind that teams may try and rush for the cap and not go for the city brawl. Also, take tanks that can both deal a lot of damage and react quickly to situations.
So guys, as you can see, the head-to-heads there of skill really proving fairly true. It's so even between these, and we are tied at 1-1 so far. Kazna crew picking up the first. No real surprise. We expected Ruinberg to kind of go their way, but DeNova really had to fight hard for Prokhorovka that we gave to them pretty much on a plate. So in the north, in that golden yellow, it will be Kazna crew, and in the south for DeNova, it'll be in blue. That was the wrong way around in my brain. It's been a long day already.
DeNova pushing into the city. Excuse Lauren's inability to distinguish colours, but DeNova, as predicted, going into the city heavily with the IS-3s. They have got 3 of them, but so is Kazri, to be honest, and they don't have the greatest positions from the north. It's definitely harder to play, considering you can see DeNova already have the bigger map presence, but DeNova do have one tank completely off on a limb with his 2 T1s, so if he gets spotted out of position, Kazri can just collapse on 5 against 4 and almost certainly win.
Well, let's find out how this one goes, because they are literally centimeters apart. Still Mojo, Crux, all holding down that little road. International and Winnie the Pooh looking like they want to edge forward here. This is so tentative. Now, let's see what sort of spots DeNova are getting here. They know where Still Mojo is. They know where a good couple of the opposition are, though. So at least they're getting that information coming through to them. Crux in a great position. He got that early spot coming through there, spotting out Bad News, pushing up. And FC Dino just catching a glimpse of Still Mojo there. He has to back away. And who's going to make the first move here?
Oh, Still Mojo is charging about all over the place, so it doesn't look like he is. But DeNova, they have the better positions. They just need to really capitalize on that. And at the moment, it does look like they're kind of a bit tentative and pushing backwards, whereas they should be pushing forwards. Maybe even use Phoenix, who at the moment is useless until Kazakru push around. But Bad News takes a whole load of damage there, down to 1-8-1-7. That changes the whole way pace of the game. Phoenix responding with a kill onto Palauda, so one tier each down for the teams.
Yeah, but it does look as though Kazna is starting to make their move. Winnie the Pooh needs to back the hell up. Still Mojo, luckily for his sake, does not land the shot, but Veko moving in. Bad News round the flank, going to be focused on Hyber. Can he get any backup, though? Bad News is going low. He's on a 4-8-8, and FC Dynamo finally comes around to support his teammate, but takes a face for the damage because Narlem's there waiting. There is fire going down absolutely everywhere. Phoenix going down fairly low as well. It's not been a clean fight at all for DeNova, but still a standing tall. Can they make it count? Can they focus down the tanks they need and finally get those kills coming in?
They need to really consolidate their tanks, because at the moment, DeNova's pushing in. He's actually international versus Crook, 1-for-1, but Still Mojo, he's so strong.
He really is doing what he can here, but Crux facing down against International. The push happening down that left side road is Bad News getting a shot. FC Dynamo, he's being pushed away. Veko lands a fantastic shot to FC Dynamo. Now Narlum coming around, still Mojo on the split. This is huge. He's come around the back of them. Phoenix on the back as well, but he's gone on the rotate maybe a little bit too late, and DeNova are being destroyed one by one. We are seeing Phoenix winning the poo and International left alive, but on minimal health, and still Mojo making it worse here as Crux now facing down International, gets the first shell off. Not going to be followed up. Phoenix now comes around to support. Nice little comeback play there. Can they turn any more kills over here? Because they desperately need to, but look at Phoenix still taking a beating. He's down so low. 140 HP, 286 for International, and they've got a lot of players to fight.
And still Mojo looks like he's wanting to push and do the final blows to DeNova because they are down on their luck. He does receive on there. Nice little peek play by Phoenix, by International even, but YR does take down Cobrion. Brilliant there that he actually angled his front armor, not having the side, but that's it. He's over.
Indeed.
But still Mojo's now pushing around. YR's left in his T1, but he doesn't really stand much of a chance against the might of Veko, Narlum, and Still Mojo. Indeed, he'll get taken down by the good old Still. 2-1 to the Kazna crew elite. DeNova looking down and out.
Yeah, they really are. For a team that we predicted to go all the way here, they're just getting absolutely stomped by a team that we thought might pick up the first map.
Yeah.
You know, it was, okay, maybe Kazna can do the damage early, maybe get a bit of confidence. All right, they did that. But then they struggled on the second map, Prokhorovka. They didn't have the same kind of panache they had on the first. But now, they've just gone and really thrown DeNova off track.
Yeah, you can see that actually DeNova did the most damage in terms of the best player there. International did 2016. Crux was the best player for Kazna with almost 2,000, 1,919. But the overall damage from Kazna crew was a lot better. As I said, DeNova were in the better positions, but they did not capitalize on it. Kazna crew actually went on the flank, took those tanks out on their own. Phoenix got to the battle too late once he was spotted because he was out on the flank and he was waiting for Kazna crew to push around. But once he was spotted, he was taken down. You can see Crux on your screen there. He was such a good player there for the winning team, Kazna crew. Now 2-1 up. This is unexpected.
It really is, and let's keep in mind the next map is Mines, which I wouldn't say is too far away from your Abbeys and your maps like that, where you can really use those T69s, those 1390s. You do obviously have the small kind of hints of your more beefy tanks in the mix, the T32s if they really fancy it, but it's certainly a map Kazna crew can do.
They're very good at it. They are very, very good. You know, I'm wondering if the T32 is going to be picked, Pershing, all those kind of things, and if it's just going to come down to the AMX 3090 rush onto the hill. We've seen the Russian teams, like, they would just go 3 AMX 39s on the hill. Whoever wins that engagement will end up winning the whole map. I'm not sure if DeNova or Kazna crew will do that. You can see YR on your screen now looking slightly disheartened.
I think slightly is the understatement there. Exactly. He looks absolutely devastated.
Understatement of the century, but even if they do lose this, they won't be going out. They'll be going to play Evil Panda Squad for the lower bracket. Whoever wins that will be going to play Team Dignitas Seed 1. Whoever wins the winners will just be playing Virtus Pro Seed 2. That's the format for tomorrow. But today, DeNova in the background, not expected. As I was talking, this is the roster changes coming in my opinion. They just don't have that communication. You can see how much passion and energy that's coming out of Kazna crew. If you're here, they're really loud, they're really energetic. Well, DeNova, slightly subdued. Maybe a good thing in some respects, but I think sometimes you need that energy just to go and win it.
I certainly do now. They have 2 maps against them. This could be all over in one game. And Mines suits the style of Kazna crew. This is one of their more strong points, I'd say. Maybe not their best, but certainly something they can do work with. And we know DeNova is strong, don't get me wrong. These guys are very talented, but we haven't seen that. We saw them going for a bit of a rushed move, let's say, on Ensk, that normally they are the city map kind of team. They're the ones who always do well on that, but he just didn't turn up.
I'm so surprised they lost Ensk. This is a map which I hailed them to be one of the best teams on.
Exactly.
If not the best. I'm actually really surprised. And it looks like they're almost subdued and cautious about everything they do. They get themselves into a good position, but then they wait there. You know, Phoenix shouldn't have waited there. At the end of the day, it was so obvious of what Kazna could do to win that game that it was almost painful. It's like they're shell-shocked. in this position. But tank picking is continuing. AMX 3090, T69 for DeNova, double AMX 1390 for Kazna, double T69 for DeNova. Penultimate pick for Kazna is that T32 and the AMX 1390. Surprise pick from DeNova, a team that does like to innovate. The other alternative to the AMX 3090, the WZ132 being picked out, that Chinese tier 8.
Curious. Why do you think that's kind of in this one? Like, where do you think that's going to kind of be positioned here?
I think it's just a better sniper, and it's 250 damage. Okay, it's got heat ammo, but it's only having to deal with T69s and AMX 3090, so it's just about okay. I think in terms of position, Hill, because it's almost as fast as the 3090, so it can keep up. And it's also, it could struggle against the T32. That's the one problem I see. It will not penetrate the front of the T32 50% of the time. If you pay, it just really can't. It doesn't get through it, especially from the front.
Do you think the Kazna crew, seeing that WZ132, have just gone for another T32 there as a reply to it?
Yep.
Just to go, okay,
certainly.
you're gonna go for that? All right, we'll counterpick you and just kind of put you really on the back foot here.
But this could be double bluff, because it could be just a bad pick, picking two T32s. DeNova could be thinking, okay, if we do WZ132, Kazna are going to be picking T32, but we've got this idea, we've got this plan. That might be a counter to double T32s. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of double T32s. Too slow, too cumbersome. You have to really engage at the same time as the rest of your tanks to like the millisecond. Otherwise, they're going to get focused down. But the great thing about the T32 is the longer you get into the game, the stronger they become, because the other tanks are on low HP. Yep. They might be on reload. They might only have a couple of shells in the barrel if they have auto-loaders. And the T32 with that armor and that HP, it just gets better and better.
This is a curious possible deciding game. Let's see if DeNova have finally come out of their shells and played a really smart game here. If they're willing to kind of expect that WZ132 has pulled out that double T32 pick, then they are absolute geniuses. If they didn't expect it, then they may be in for a horrific shock, really. And this could be the game over, because the first of three pretty much picks this up. We are tied, well, we're not tied, we were tied at 1-1. It's now 2-1 in favor to Kazna crew. And well, if it's all decided on this is absolutely unbelievable. Kazna crew going for that double T32. I'm still not sold on it. As you said, you're not yourself, and it always seems very slow-paced and slightly out of position, but maybe Kazna have something waiting, but, well, DeNova certainly do with that curious pick. So, guys, let's get that video rolling for Mines.
Mines, the original and best World of Tanks 7-on-7 map famed for its incredible tactical opportunities. A small map being 800 by 800 meters. The map has three primary routes of attack: the left flank through the water, the middle area, and the town side. The key position on this map is the middle area, as it provides great firing positions and areas of attack for the team that holds it. The middle area's primary entrance is the road passing through the middle of the map. It is essential that the teams take key areas around the hill, both of which are situated just below the hill, the north side and the south side. These locations can provide for some amusing tactics. The hill isn't the only means of attack on Mines though. There's also a housing area towards the east side that has a fair few routes of attack and provides great cover for advancing tanks. The water area can be an option for teams, however the soft ground makes it very hard for tanks to traverse rapidly, but leads straight to the opponent's base.
So welcome to Mines. In the north in blue, it's going to be DeNova, and in the south in yellow, it's going to be Kazna crew. It's currently 2-1 in favor to Kazna crew. Even if the scoreboard doesn't reflect it, I assure you it is. And we are seeing these guys going off to a flying start. Why don't you take us through what we're seeing at the moment?
So Kazna crew with that triple AMX 3090 lineup, extremely fast up the hill. Definitely have that advantage, but you can see how that WZ132 can easily keep up with the AMX 3090. This is an engagement.
This is unbelievable. Look at Phoenix. Literally on fire right now. He's been going down solo, but Hyper's on 1 HP, decimated by Phoenix there. And now YR looking for his moment to pounce, but another tank will fall. And this is an unbelievable start. YR finally coming in for the cleanup route, but can he get the damage towards Veko? Veko already staring him down. They're both fairly low, but ooh, Veko just teasing him round there. As YR left down on 300 HP, Veko on 800, and the backup being held at bay by those T-32s. Bad news, FC Dynamo and I believe it's International can't even get involved here. They're leaving them alone, but here we go. Finally, the push trying to begin. Nolan getting taken solo. He's out of there. Lovely play from FC Dynamo. and now looking for more. Still Mojo, the next target of focus. This could be real trouble. Can Still Mojo deal with all the threat that is DeNova?
Certainly going to be a hard game for him. He's got plenty of HP, but he just doesn't have the damage, and Vecco's going to have to scamper off that hill there. YR just stomping his authority onto that hill. That'll give them the higher ground advantage. Certainly a very important thing here. Now, International Bad News pushing it.
Indeed, FC Dynamo Bad News all kind of folding in towards that central area with that T32. Vecco just scampering away. Still Mojo getting absolutely ripped to shreds by those 3 tanks. Nothing he could do there. And now the 4 players standing for DeNova just hunting round in a pack, looking for that remaining man, really, that is Vecco. Paluda, well, he can try all he wants, but he's still a tier 1 as Vecco does what he can, taking down Winnie the Pooh, but Bad News over 1,000 HP. FC Dynamo 730. International 900. That is not a pretty sight to see, literally rolling at you right now. This surely is going to be tied all even. We will be going to another map here. International exchanging back and forth. That kind of classic battle now between Vecco and International, but I feel as though this time it's a little bit of an easier game here.
Certainly was an easy game for DeNova. Last frag goes to Bad News. Last 2 frags go to Bad News, bringing the score all even. DeNova tying up the series as we head into our 3rd and final map, which will be the Himmelsdorf, the ultimate, the big daddy of all maps, of all city maps. And that's going to be quite incredible. This is where the advantage does slide into DeNova's favor. Probably their pick, probably their favorite map.
But do you think they expected to come this far, though? It's like, okay, we saw what they did on Mines then. That was a counterplay. That had to be. The way they kind of pulled that off, forcing that double T32 play, it was never going to work for them. And they made it count. So even, how much damage did that WZ actually pull off? Not a lot. It literally was just almost a bait pull.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what... It didn't even need to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite extraordinary what YR and Phoenix did on there. It was 3 against 2, but the WZ32 could get... 132 could get a couple of shots off, pushing them in favor. But because they started from the north, they had the 3 T69s, it allowed them to get in position to shoot the AMX1390 going up the hill, doing enough damage to allow YR and Phoenix in that MX1390 and the Desert 132 just to finish them off and do the easy work. But that's just a spawn location. Just fantastic play by DeNova, really understanding the real core concepts of the map. But yeah, that double T32 lineup would never work. I think for Kazna Crew to take that, I think they should have taken either a Pershing and a T69 or just gone all AMX1390s and just charged them up the hill.
Yeah, it's when you start playing out of your comfort zone to try and match the opponents or trying to kind of overread it. I think they got caught out there, maybe a little bit too hyped up, having the lead there. Okay, we're 2-1 up over DeNova. We shouldn't be doing this, but we are. And then suddenly, oh wait, okay, maybe we need to kind of calm down again. But they're now into Himmelsdorf. Now, Kazna Crew have never been the best team on Himmelsdorf. They've been okay. I think that's the best we can put it. They've been okay. But DeNova have always been extraordinarily strong. Now, what sort of trouble does this pose for Kazna Crew? How can they come into this mentally and be prepared to face off against these guys?
They just have to really knuckle down. They've done the hard work already. They've taken 2 maps against DeNova. They just have to make sure that they understand what makes DeNova tick on Himmelsdorf. But for DeNova, you know, it's like a bull to red. They're just going to be charging in and they're going to be taking a lot of hits, but also doing a lot of damage. This is what makes DeNova so strong on this map. Tank picking has almost concluded. AMX 5100 IS3 for both teams. IS3 AMX 5100 for Kazna Crew. Double 5100 for DeNova. Remember, it's a team that likes that triple 5100 lineup. Last pick from Kazna Crew is going to be the 5100. I'm just waiting on that last pick from DeNova. But for Kazna Crew, their final lineup will be the triple 5100, Ooh. Double IS3, double T1. Last pick from DeNova, surprising, T32.
Where is that going to be played? That is not a tank we ever see really being featured here. We've seen 110s being set maybe in IS3, but what do they have up their sleeve here? This is almost like an insult after double picking T32's last round to almost give away the game.
Trolling, yeah. Oh, well, I think they're more thinking about what Virtus Pro did with that T32. It didn't end up winning the game against DeNova, but what they did, while Kusuk was playing, is they were playing from the south, and they had the base trash, not the base trash, the kind of rubble that exists along the banana, and they put that T32 hull down. No one could touch it. Yeah. And they just couldn't really provide that firepower and just completely cut off the banana road, which is a really important artery in Himmelsdorf.
Yeah.
So just being able to slide across the map and have the other tanks support them and just cut off sections, it provides so much, but also it's not a great tank against IS-3s.
Well, this is the deciding map, ladies and gentlemen. We've come all the way through this one. It is currently tied at 2-2. Kazna crew had the advantage, but it was ripped away from the mines. So let's get prepared for what is going to happen on Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf is a city maps of city maps. It's a small one, being 600 by 600 meters. There are 3 routes of attack: the hill, the banana, and the train side. The middle area is relatively easy to push, however can end up in disaster as you can be flanked from every side. The road, often called banana, allows for direct head-on assaults but requires a lot of resources. Both the railroad area and the road next to it are good routes of attack, being very open and straight. However, for those very same reasons, you can be easily caught out and taken down. The map features many densely housed areas, which provides good places for engagements and routes of attack. Teams must be aware of the various routes their opponents can take through the map, as well as the hull-down positions enemies can take throughout the entire map. The trick with Himmelsdorf is to catch an enemy tank unsupported by his teammates and then use that advantage to collapse on the entire enemy team.
So welcome into that final map. It will be Himmelsdorf, as Joe kindly told us. And in the south in yellow, it's Kazna crew. Currently tied all even with DeNova in the north in blue. Now, what are we seeing from the start here? Where is that T-32 going?
Well, it's just heading straight up into the middle, but that's where it spawned, so I guess. But you can see the kind of fan out from DeNova. T1 and an MX-5100 heading up the hill, a couple heading up that 2-3 line, and the T-32 in its perfect environment, hull down, making shots. But it still struggled to penetrate the top of an IS-3. It's only got a very small section which you can really penetrate. But for Kazna crew, they're sending Kobe over to the right just to get that 50-meter proxy spot. That's such an annoying position if you're the opposition. Couple of 5100s up the hill. Remember, they have 3 of them. A couple up the 2-3 line, one of which has just been spotted, and that IS-3 sitting up in the middle. That's still Mojo playing that.
Well, who do you think has the advantage as well? Because it's fairly similar, to say the least. But who's got the advantage here so far in your eyes?
YR's taking a shot, so in terms of just I don't know, numerical, it goes to DeNova. Well, it goes to Kazna crew even.
Yeah.
But you can't really say at this early stage.
It's so minimal, I guess.
Exactly. I guess you could look at it like this way: Kazna crew have 2 tanks on the hill, while DeNova have 2, but only 1 tier 8. So that way, Kazna crew have the advantage. That's why you can see Phoenix running off the hill very quickly. Ron just going to stay up there because he needs to continue spotting, and he is kind of an expendable resource, although on Himmelsdorf it's such an important tank there. That's exactly what he should be doing. Narlum, Hyber now spotted. Good idea of what Kazna crew are doing. DeNova might change their tactic. They might have to adapt, and you can already see sending their tanks over to the 2-3 line. Maybe they're going for a push.
They might be. They're certainly considering their options, and well, DeNova know they can't really head down that D line too much, because generally you do get fairly easily spotted from any tanks on that hill. You can see how tentative SC Dynamo is. He's actually looking to counter it straight up, so see if we can get any shots down towards Hyber and co. They're still keeping eyes on them. No shots coming through just yet. You can see still Mojo laying a couple off as well, but they're being very, very careful. Even though we are quite close to an engagement at times, they're still just making sure it's in their favor as much as possible. They do not want to give away anything in this. They want to keep every single advantage, because this is a deciding map, and you just saw a shell literally scraping past, I believe, that T-32 by a couple of centimeters. So let's see if they can keep that one alive, because we are seeing a big presence from DeNova now forming down towards the opposition.
It's that presence which matters. Himmelsdorf is a map about just consolidation and making sure you push all tanks in one position. Okay, you can split push, but you're ultimately going to the same place. But the T-32 is proving itself of worth and taking still Mojo down 1 shot. But the thing is about the T-32, the T5E1, its penetration is just not that high, 245 millimeters. Against an IS-3, okay, its weakest point almost is its frontal glaciers. It's still hard to penetrate, especially at range, especially considering the bad accuracy of that T-32. I believe about 0.38, 0.40. But Kazna crew now off the hill, down in towards the 8 line. Probably there's 2 MX-5100s want to head up the 2-3 line or join drawing the IS3s up in towards that center, or even Cobra and pushing up the 8 line. He just gets spotted out. No kill for either T1 there, but it looks like Phoenix is heading off that hill. He wants that tier 1.
Yeah, definitely. And as you mentioned, tier 1's being so important in this map. You've always said it, that if you give it away too early, if you don't keep hold of them, you can literally let down your whole team almost and kind of remove some of the late game that you could bring in. Some of those late game strategies do heavily depend on these guys, and we've seen maps and games being won just by getting the cap pressure. So you can see that tier 1 bow going down, but Crux not too far away, trying to keep eyes on, but obviously you can't just go chucking yourself in there. Nice little shot from Winnie the Pooh, just going back and forth, but very, very tentative game now. 5 minutes almost gone, and you know, we saw a bit of a push up the hill. That's kind of dribbled back a bit. They've kind of brought that one home. Oh, nice shot from Cobra Leon, taking Winnie the Pooh very low. This is such a close exchange. So, so close. Each member just waiting for that pixel to be out of place, and just going to be weighing this one out. He can't openly challenge anymore. He's, you know, a good chunk of health down, so you have to be playing this one carefully. Kind of maybe sit a little bit further back and leave, you know, maybe Phoenix or whomever else to deal with it, because he's actually too low almost to challenge down with someone in such a better position than him.
You can't ever challenge down someone in a better position. It's almost impossible, because they'll always get the shots off first. This is the hardest thing about tanks. If you're standing still and someone's moving, the standing still person is almost certainly always going to win that engagement. Ron getting spotted out, he's got to be careful because Still Mojo's there, ready and waiting to snipe him out. He is a good shot there, but he does get spotted out as well. Now Kazna crew back up onto L. Literally those 251 just circled around, came back up, hoping that it's kind of some sort of juke, and hoping that what Ron has done there, get on the hill. He's going to get taken out. A lot of effort expended, but definitely worth it. Cobra, all he has to do now is take out Winnie the Pooh, and he is winning that engagement.
It certainly is, but we're seeing the flanking maneuver coming in from DeNova. They're going to have to retract back here, because as you saw just then, that is the impact of one tier 1 being removed. Ron being removed there has had to make them kind of reevaluate the strategy they were running with. They can't stick with the same sort of format here, but I'm very curious to see where they intend on kind of finally executing towards. YR, International and FC Dynamo all heading around towards that hillside.
They want to be on that hill because they know that Kazna crew will retreat either off that hill or back, far back onto it. So they're just going to get the presence on the hill and then just charge down. Perhaps look up that G line where you have kind of a little hole and hope that they can catch a couple of tanks out there. But for DeNova, they need to try something. They need to go back and forth. They need to come up with something clever. But they also need to make sure that T32 in D4/D5 is kind of safe and supported, which will be very hard. Even if they can support them from the hill, the guys on the hill are just going to be sitting ducks. That's the problem with the hill. But I can't see how Kazna crew can really have predicted what would happen here, especially in terms of how many tanks were sent up. All 3 AMX 5100s from DeNova are going up, leaving only an IS3 and a T32 back. But Kazna crew rotate over to the 2-3 line.
So now with 3 minutes left, we could see this going to a draw here by all rights, because you know, almost a rematch on this one, because no team has such a drastic advantage that they're all that willing to kind of get involved. We are seeing obviously a bit of an all-in from DeNova towards the hill, but you know, Kazna crew have already kind of vacated the area. They've been spotted out, which is huge actually. But whether or not anyone can do anything about it is a completely different matter. 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Unless they can catch someone out here, they're going to be working from the back line. But if they're working out that maybe there's a couple of tanks on the hill, they could focus down Bad News, who is sitting very much alone here.
And still Mojo takes another blow to the face. Now down to 820, and Phoenix is going to get the crossfire.
Yeah, Phoenix looking through, waiting for the shot to be absolutely perfect. Takes another chunk of health away from Still Mojo, who is going very low. Now maybe trying to tease out Bad News is not the best of ideas now. Still Mojo is so low, tries to get a bit of a reply coming through. Needs to be careful. He really doesn't have the HP to be challenging flat out here. Needs to be very, very, very careful. But oh, from the back, Bad News just reminding him, I'm still here, buddy, and I'm still certainly going to do damage to you if you give me a shot like that. So we are seeing finally a push coming from the Kazna crew down that 1 to 4 line section.
They're going to really go all in here. They've already lost almost Still Mojo. A tier 8 tank down is almost an unrecoverable position, especially on a map like Himmelsdorf, but only 2 tanks heading up there. I think they're going to be trying to find that one T32, which is alone, but you also have the IS-3 play by International, ready to try and back him up, but still, 2 AMX 5100s against an IS Arena T32, those 5100s almost win, but YR's there.
YR needs to land so many of these shots to be able to back up his teammate. International moving around as well. They're holding him in bay. Cobra Leone getting the spots out so they know they're up against, and immediately they're backing the hell out of there. They know they cannot get around that side, and it's not worth challenging out on bad news because he's now got backup, he's now got cover. But look, another 2 tanks split towards the south side of this map here. Maybe, you know, Kazna could find a bit of damage towards them, and I think they just did. FC Dynamo got a bit of a shell coming in from Veko then, taking them to 1074. And there's a real feasibility to this if they can negate the presence of the other tanks and keep them at bay.
They need to go 4 against 2. There's only 2 tanks that are left, and they have all 4, including still Mojo, but you can't actually get into the engagement considering his low HP. FC Dynamo has to play this one perfectly. He has got Phoenix, his battle buddy there in the background, but how can they resist this Kazna Crew surge? 30 seconds left on the clock. Bad News has got to try and back his team up. International charging across that courtyard now. But Veko, Crooks, still Mojo, they don't want to go for the engagement. They don't want to push forwards. Perhaps they don't know that FC Dynamo and Phoenix are so exposed.
Well, we might find out now because we're already seeing one tank get absolutely melted. Hyber just got taken down instant, and with 11 seconds left, this could be enough, but Phoenix is tracked. Can they bring it back in time? International are pushing forward. At the moment, this could be DeNova's game pretty much, and we are seeing them now making their way forward. 2 seconds left, another shell comes in. They've got to play safe, and I do believe DeNova just about did that, or did they not in the end?
I think they only have 6 points because
Did they not lose?
they lost 2 tier 1s. So
oh my god.
I think at least.
No,
they had 8 points, so they had they took out on the Hyber, but they lost the 2 tier 1s, so that's 6 points. So it's a draw, mate. Yeah, it's a draw.
Wow.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I think for DeNova, that absolute obliteration of Hyber almost got them the game. All they need to do was take out the 2 tier 1s.
Okay, we need to point out now how important Cobra Leone and that exchange he had with the tier 1 was, because if he lost out, that game would have gone completely the other way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
exactly
unbelievable. So those tier 1s, we say it time and time again, they can literally swing a game in one's favor. So I believe we're going back into this one in just a moment. But you know, that was a very, very strange game of literally pretty much making sure that that your tanks were not out on their own. That was simple as that. It was all about trying to make sure your tanks had backup. And to be fair, DeNova had their occasions. They left their tanks fairly exposed. Don't get me wrong, in the team fights, they pulled it all together, but they left a good couple of players fairly vulnerable and depended on their aim to kind of come through that.
Yeah, and they got very lucky that they actually took out Hyber. I thought it would be the exact opposite, where 4 tanks of Kazna Crew would push onto those 2 tanks and just wipe them off the map, but it just didn't work out like that. Kazna Crew weren't either brave enough to push in to take out those 2 because they had so little time left, or just didn't realize quite how exposed they were. But I believe tanks are going to stay the same, and they might want to change things up. But this is Himmelsdorf, so not much needs to be done. The T32 proved itself enough in that map for it not to be changed out. So I think everything is going to be all good. You can see there Hyber on your screen just doing some changes. He's obviously keeping an eye on his team and giving them some motivation, because now 2 maps apiece. This is where it counts. The loser of this goes down in the lower bracket to fight Evil Panda Squad, and they really have to fight in that bracket.
Yeah, no game today has been easy. Let's keep that in mind, because, okay, when I looked at the brackets, I kind of predicted 2 teams quite comfortably getting through to the next round. Harsh, but it's the way it kind of on paper was told. No team has had an easy ride today. There was a lot of draws, there was a lot of close games, and these teams really are fighting. DeNova against Kazna, you'd never think it would come down to this map. You'd never think it would come down to this close. And we are almost underway and getting this one back into the action. Kazna Crew once again will be starting in the south, and in the north it will be DeNova. We are still tied 2-2. And let's see about those tier 1s, because they are still once again so important. You cannot say it enough. Everyone seems to kind of forget how vital these can be to the battle. Everyone kind of questions why they use them, but I think we just saw it come into play because we are live into the game right now. So as I said, in the north, it's going to be DeNova, and in the south, it's going to be Kazna Crew. So why don't you tell me what they're getting up to so far? Because it's a little bit of a different start for Kazna, I'd say, as well.
Yeah. DeNova, though, they're not quite as fanned out as they were before, more heading up towards the hill than anything. Kazna only sending 1 tank towards the hill, the other one going up towards the 8 line, and where they do look like they're going to do the Virtus Pro push. Indeed, there's a T1 following that up. and hopefully they can get themselves into a good position. It's always a little bit of a risky one, but as long as they have that IS-3 of Steel Mojo to provide the crossfire for anything that wants to take that tier 8 tank down, they should just about be okay. DeNova already reacting. Bad news, not sure why he still picked a T-32, because he's not hull down.
And he's not landing the shots either. Steel Mojo will be staying alive, and that is just dodging that shell as it whizzes past him, but tentative start coming in for DeNova. They are playing very much on the defensive line. They are so far back on the map. They're pretty much all around that AB section, and now it's all a game of waiting for them pretty much. And Kazna crew making that initial move. Still Mojo a little bit caught out here. Not too badly that he's in too much trouble, but he's in the position he wants to be, but certainly a lot further forward than the rest of his side, as International just getting to position, side scraping his way down, making sure he keeps eyes on, but still no damage really done here. Let's keep that in mind. Even though Bad News and Steel Mojo have been able to see each other the entirety of the last couple of minutes, no one's landed a shell yet. They're playing so carefully in these positions. That T-32 just not doing the work that we needed it to in this instant, but still. Let's see exactly what we're getting onto, because look at the little bit of a push coming around from that railroad side from Kazna.
Yeah, they're sending what looks like an AMX 5100 up there, is Veko, so it's supported by, I believe, an IS-3, so he should just be okay, but Ron's doing a great job there, just spotting out. It is a really fantastic position for him. Pilauda's going to be the thorn in his side, though, just jarring back and forwards. Remember, Winnie the Pooh pretty much lost that engagement and lost the game for the team. Both their tier 1s went down. That evened up the points for Kazna crew, so it allowed them to lose Hyber at the end of the game. But that engagement was won by Ron. Pilauda now down to 40 HP. Phoenix and YR, as well as Winnie the Pooh, to their left, to go up the hill, but they got the constant threat of Hyber, and he got there first, so he'll get the first shot.
Yeah, and they're teasing backing up over that hill. Phoenix just occasionally peers up and over, but we have seen Kazna crew pretty much control the map, I'd say, at the present moment. They've got at least a foot towards getting the hill, but Hyber is backing away. He's leaving that one alone, and I'm interested to see if there's going to be any ramifications coming in for the tanks that kind of pushed up here, because you negate the hill, you could be in trouble, but he doesn't fancy challenging out with Phoenix there, and it's not a bad shout. Rux did push down towards the left side of this map, whereas Steel Mojo still kind of having that staring battle with Bad News there. And very curious start here. Both teams at a bit of a stalemate now, though.
Yeah, they're not willing to really make that next step, but I believe it will happen. You can see DeNova starting to head off that hill. I'm guessing, or just insight, foresight even, that the Kazna crew guys have jumped off, and they know that they still can rely on the fact that Steel Mojo's down there, got the tier 1 to the right, and Phoenix is going to get his good old position. Cabrion just taking a lot of damage down. Now both tier 1s for Kazna crew are below half HP, especially Cobrion down to about 10% there. Now Phoenix trying to find someone there. He does get spot onto Narlan, but also getting spotted himself, I do believe. So pretty much the whole team of DeNova spotted, so good information for Kazna crew, whilst about 2/3 of the team for Kazna are spotted. But Kazna look like they want to push up that 2-3 line. They've kind of consolidated all their forces, and they are ready to push up. So that'll have both flanks, every flank apart from the hill, pretty much tied over.
We are seeing Crux there making his way forward. I'm very interested to see the timing behind this, because we're seeing the tanks coming off the hill for DeNova, and we are seeing the push-up happening from Kazna crew. And this is unique, very unique timing, but a bit of trouble could be caused if we do see that player going right down that central 5 to 6 line for DeNova, finding where Steel Mojo is, because these guys are still fairly split apart. They look like they want to be making the move towards Steel Mojo, and these guys are coming around the back. They are getting pincered in here. This means real trouble for these two players down that banana road. Here comes finally the first bit of Bad News appearing over the horizon, as the players are just moments away. Cobrion gets the spot, but can they get around into position in time? Steel Mojo finally takes a shell. Bad News finally in trouble. Here comes the rest of the side of Kazna crew. They've got International low. They've got Bad News low. They can do this, but Narlan's in trouble. He's been tracked. He's been held. Can he stay alive? No is the resounding answer, as we do see DeNova already get themselves into the battle, but can they find any more? Steel Mojo now in trouble, decimated off the screen, as Veko, Hyber and Crux are the last 3 men standing, and the last with all of the hopes of Kazna crew in their hands.
They have to try and at least take down YR. Phoenix does do a fantastic amount of damage, does take a little bit, but FC Dino and Bad News are still in this game. The only tank lost for the side of DeNova is International, whilst Narlan and Steel Mojo have gone down for Kazna crew. Hyber's in trouble as well.
Hyber is so low at the moment. A strong breeze could take him out of this game, but a good reply comes in towards FC Dynamo as he has to back away. Another fantastic shell will land, but the cap is certainly on. Now DeNova have a time limit to all they have to hold on to here, but Kazna crew know what they're up against. They now have to be the aggressors. They have to bring the game as Crux will be making his way around. Oh, nice shot comes in. We are seeing these guys going head to head. YR does get another shell landing. Crux just completely focused out here, trying to find bad news. And I just don't see this happening. Oh, lovely shot to YR. I spoke far too soon. But Crux now staring down the barrel of bad news' his gun with 25 seconds left. Hyber is nowhere to be found. He's so far away. He's struggling. And the cap will only get faster in a couple of seconds. And these two guys are just battering head against head here.
It's bad news that the one left. Crux can one-shot him here, but it's going to be at the cap. 2 seconds left.
My God, Crux is still fighting here. But as you said, did the cap just get reset?
Got reset.
It just got reset. 2 seconds left, but one now. It's too little too late. They've just about done this one. My God, DeNova, you were quiet the whole time, but now you have certainly the right to be loud. And look at YR, that guy looks so happy that that just happened. And we told you the importance of those tier ones. They saved them in the first game, and they just pulled them through in the second.
Just amazing. Once again, the tier 1 proving its worth in the
Look
742.
at
Phoenix doing an absolutely outstanding 2,516 damage, breaking all records for today, and taking his team through 3-2 against Still Mojo's Kazna crew. Not as close a scoreline as we would predict, but Kazna crew putting up the fight to the last second, only losing on cap. What a fantastic game by them. They can stand tall, they can keep their heads high after that one, but this time that 2 AMX 5100 push onto Narlum was just too much for Kazna crew to deal with.
That was a brilliant game to end on, I think. Finally, DeNova started showing signs of who they really are, you know what I mean? That was a very slow starting game for them, not quite onto the point they normally are, but that last game was absolute brilliance. But congratulations to Kazna crew, they played so well in that as well. I don't think anything can be said against them. And great sportsmanship between the two teams, certainly known each other for some time now. And no, they're brilliant play, absolutely brilliant. I think Phoenix has been a superstar already today. Showing why he's pretty much almost the top of the league next to some of the Dignitas members. Just stunning stuff, showing exactly why we love Himmelsdorf as well. That map can really provide some of the best games that we've seen in a long time, but it's just the ending to that. You know, the last time we saw the being played out, it was the fact that they had the tier 1s alive, that they won, or at least abstained from dying, should I say, pretty much in the tier 1 exchange the first time on Himmelsdorf. And then in the second map around, they were the defining factor. They got it reset. Kazna crew, credit to them, reset it once, but it just wasn't enough to really get it the whole way through. But brilliant play.
And even better was the fact that Phoenix had that foresight to go and stop, to go and help his tier 1s. Otherwise, they would have been reset. So he's just such a good player. I mean, if he continues playing at that level, he's really going to take his team far.
Well, I think we need to go and kind of calm down a bit here, because that was a perfect end to a brilliant start to this day, at least for that game. But before we do go into the next, because obviously there are more games coming up today, I think we should have a little bit of a chat with some of the members of DeNova, because they've just had a very, very tough start to their tournament here in the season final. So let's pass over to Mitch, who's waiting on the stage.
Thanks, guys. Well, I guess no team's been giving away any games easily at all. In fact, we've been seeing some serious deliverance of some fantastic games. I'm here with Ronnie at the front of stage, and he's smiling. I'm smiling just because he's smiling so hard. He's clearly so very, very pleased, Ronnie. That was a long game, let's be honest. And I mean, we haven't seen too many of those short games from you guys. Even back in Cologne, it was a series of long games. What was the catalyst for you guys to really bring that one back? Because Kazna crew took that first game and you went to 2-1. I saw the look on YR's face and he was really frustrated. But that Mines game was incredible. You guys did a Kazna crew and went aggressive and managed to take that out. What catalyzed that change?
Nevertheless, we lost the first game. We managed to stay calm. I don't know about Yuris, but everyone else was just okay. We did some stupid mistake. 0 damage on our T69, but we know that we prepared all the other maps and we can play them well. That's why we just went to Mines, Prokhorovka and other maps with calm state of our minds. And it was really horrible to see what stupid mistakes lead us to our losses on Ensk and Ruinberg. because Ruinberg is 0 damage, for sure, that's the reason. And even on mines, nevertheless, we won it, but our VZ was damaged for 700 HP by our own T69. He was set to fibers T69. It was crazy. As you see, some people are nervous, but I personally was calm. And maybe because I was calm, I managed to command the other maps with full concentration, and that's why we won it. It was a struggle. I know Kazna played really well, better than their online part, I would say. But that's what helped us, I think, yeah.
Well, I mean, the composure of the captain is so very, very important. He did a fantastic job running. Thank you very much for joining me on the stage. Go and celebrate with the rest of the boys. And DeNova report themselves another rung in the ladder in the winners bracket. Kazna crew will drop down, but still will be in a chance to take it out and move on to play tomorrow. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. I think everyone needs to get a breath of fresh air. We will be back very, very shortly, though, with the rest of the games. Guys, don't go anywhere. These teams are delivering. There is no doubt. Euro's finest are here. They're playing some of their best tanks for me and for you. We'll see you soon.